brief. So if she does appear and you guys want to call me, I'm completely available.
This is 22BL001108OD. This is City of Belleville versus Kania Mary Rochon Wright. This matter was scheduled this morning for show cause at 9 o'clock. It's now 9:23 a.m. by the court's clock. There are no unidentified persons in the court's virtual breakout rooms. There's no one in the court's virtual waiting room. There's no one in the court's physical courtroom. Ms. Wright has been non-compliant with treatment education, AA, work program, or community service, and making payments. More specifically, there is a report from the probation department that indicates that Ms. Wright has not tested since June 30th, 2022, completed only 30 of the 60 days on alcohol monitoring. Ms. Wright owes the court $1,220 in this matter and has failed to provide documentation of AA or NA or documentation to support the allegation that she has received treatment through Dawn Farms. Ms. Wright did contact the court on October 5th, asked for copies of the notices to appear to be emailed to her. The court staff did that for the second time. Ms. Wright is well aware that this matter was scheduled for this morning and has failed to appear. In addition, she has new charges pending out of the 14B District Court. Based on Ms. Wright's failure to appear this morning as directed by this court, bench warrant shall issue in this matter, 5,010%. If Ms. Wright presents herself to the court before the conclusion of this morning's docket, the court will recall the matter. Ms. Rapp, the court doesn't have another matter with you until 10:30. So if you want to go dark or log off, we'll leave our virtual courtroom open to you, and we'll see you at 10:30, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I know you miss me when we're not together.
Oh, I love seeing your smiley face at 8:30 in the morning. This 10 o'clock stuff kind of. I've been missing you for an hour and a half. But I have
What
one
do we
for
have
you.
at 10 o'clock?
Tyler Woolrich.
Oh, Tyler, yeah. Okay, and Mr. Hadley's on, I'm not sure. Mr. Hadley, do you need to speak to Mr. Rorich? Mary Ann, I reset you as host.
Thank you.
Mr. Rorich, did you want to speak to the court-appointed attorney this morning before your case is called?
Yes, ma'am, if I could, please.
Absolutely. Let me get him activated and then we'll get you into a breakout room with him, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The hell's going on with my computer?
Hey, hi, Josh.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. Mr. Rorich is here. I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with him.
There we go. Hey, Mary Ann.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, so I just got tossed into a breakout room. Who is this?
Oh, Tyler Rorich.
Who's that?
Sentencing.
Oh, so he's not mine then, no?
Oh, he's not yours?
I don't think so. I'm just here on the VOP docket.
Okay, let me see who his attorney is then.
Um,
Let's see.
I can handle it if we don't have one. I just wasn't sure.
I don't see one listed on the ROA. It
Oh,
just
no.
IDC, but let me look.
Is it a sentencing on a probation violation? What do we got here?
Disorderly person interfering with police, resisting arrest.
So he's already pled. It's just Let me just look up this case for him to talk to him. It was the salt and battery case. Interference with police. The hell's he-
Yeah, he, I believe has two cases here. Hold on.
Yeah. All right, so I've got. Looks like he's up on the sentencing for the cases that start with 21. Okay, the disorderly person interfering, resist arrest. Looks like Royce pled him out back in January of 2022. Enderman put out a bench warrant. Okay. I can cover it. Yeah, let me jump in and meet with him real quick and see what's going on. I'll be right back if you don't mind throwing me back into the breakout room.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, we are set to go on Mr. Rourke whenever you guys are ready. Oh, let's make it official.
So official now.
It's getting out of control. And deputy, if you can hear us at Wayne County, it looks like Mr. Rourke is still muted. Thank you.
Yeah, we mute it so that way there's no background noise.
Oh, okay, no problem. I just didn't know. We appreciate that.
Okay, sir.
We are back on the record. This is 210-8970M. This is City of Romulus versus Tyler Joseph Mark Rorich. May I have your appearances for the record, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Attorney Josh Hadley appearing on behalf of the defendant, Mr. Tyler Rourke, who is appearing via Zoom from the Wayne County Jail today.
State your name for me, sir. Oh, they have you muted.
Sorry, Your Honor.
No worries.
You want me to
Your
say?
name, sir?
Oh, Tyler Rorick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today is the day and time set for your sentencing in this matter. Mr. Rourke, you originally appeared back on January 20th, 2022 and entered a plea of guilty to count 1, being a disorderly person, and count 3, resisting arrest, because of some of the conversation that was had between the prosecutor that day, which would have been Josh Kaplan, and the court-appointed attorney, Royce Nunley. This matter was sent to probation for you to submit to a mental health assessment and then to have the matter scheduled for sentencing. The matter was adjourned a few times. You were unavailable, and then you had a failure to appear. But you have appeared this morning. The court has received emails in this matter from your mother and from Huron Township. Mr. Hadley, how are we proceeding this morning?
Your Honor, we're prepared to move forward with sentencing. We would like to inform the court that Mr. Rourke has been incarcerated with the Wayne County Jail for the past 42 days on a new charge. We would ask, as we fashion a sentence for this, that you would allow him to basically be credited for the time served on the matter. My understanding is that Mr. Rourke is able to post bond or has posted bond on the new 2022 offenses and looks forward to working with counsel to get this matter moved forward.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And again, as Mr. Rourke had a brief moment to chat, Your Honor, just quickly, it says he understands that, you know, he had pled that he needed to be available to the court, but it sounds like obviously there's been a couple of things that have been going on in the interim. So again, he expresses his sincere apologies to the court for not appearing as previously ordered.
I understand that, and I appreciate that. And I have had other cases with Mr. Rourke, and he's always been very polite and appropriate and timely with the court. There have been some hiccups along the way, but I think that we have gotten back on track. There was a recommendation, the court did not ask for a PSI, but there was a recommendation from the probation department that Mr. Rourke be placed on a period of probation that included some substance abuse treatment. I wasn't sure if Ms. Rapp has shared that with you, Mr. Hadley.
No, unfortunately, just kind of tagging in a little bit late, but appraised of the situation now. I am reading the register of actions, and I think it kind of indicates as such. Ms. Rapp, is your position that you would like to still see these counseling courses completed, or does your office have a position on that?
No position on that.
Thank you, Mr. Hadley. And I guess my question to you, Ms. Rapp, would be that there is a August 30th, 2022 felony drug case. While you take a moment to look that up, I'm wondering if that might be the more appropriate file for probation and substance abuse treatment, given the age of this case now.
Yes, Your Honor, I would say the felony is more important at this point.
Thank you. Mr. Rorich, in the case that's before the court this morning, your sentence in this matter would be 30 days credit for time served already. There are certain fees that are not waivable. In this case, it is a $75 crime victim fee, $50 mandatory state costs, a $20 fund fee, and one $50 bench warrant. That's $195.
Okay,
So credit for that time, $195, and those unwaivable costs. Upon your release, if you reach out to our court's collection department and set a payment plan or make payment on that $195,
okay.
the
And
court
Your
will
Honor-
deem this matter closed in its entirety.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your
Thank
Honor.
you.
One quick point of clarification, because I'm just trying to play a little catch up on the register of actions. I do see there was a 10% bond on the $5,000 PR. Was that bond forfeited, or is that still applicable to outstanding fines and costs?
If there is bond eligible for submission of fines and costs, the court will apply it. Based on his prior failure to appear, I'm not sure if that bond is still available for application, because the ROA attached in the file is for a different case. So I don't see that information. I see Ms. Rapp typing furiously.
I see the bond hitting each of like the ROA entries as there was failure to appears, but I don't see one for a forfeiture, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Again, sorry to slow it down. I just wanted to figure it'd be easier to clear that up now than later.
No, I appreciate it, Mr. Hadley, and I'd rather have it clear so that he knows what he needs to do with this court regarding this 2022, this June 15th case. Oh, there was, thank you. I see it August 31st, 2022. There was, it looks like, let me stop talking, Ms. Rapp, because the notes in the file seem to be not all appropriately assigned to this file, because it references a pretrial date with Judge Oakley, which cannot be correct.
And I apologize. My computer keeps freezing up, so I have to keep signing on a different screen. So I apologize.
Yeah, and that was the reason for my question as well, Your Honor. I was kind of seeing some of those and couldn't quite follow the trail.
Note that at one point there were 2 or 3 files traveling together, and it looks like maybe some notes were misapplied.
And yeah, we were obviously hoping for the ideal situation where his fines and costs would be covered. When we say close this one today, we really mean close this one today in that sense.
I do not see an open bond on the case. I believe a bond was set on this matter, but I don't see an open bond. Or the
So that being the case, sir, it's the credit for that time and then the 195 for the unwaivable fine of the unwaivable costs, okay? And that resolves this matter, Mr. Roach.
How much is my bond, ma'am?
There is no bond posted in this case. The bond was set, but not posted. I'm sorry, hold on. These files are gonna have to be straightened out as part of the issue. In this case, the bond was 5,000 personal. So there, you never would have had to post anything in this file, in
Okay.
this 210897 file.
So Mr. Rourke,
There
the
might
bond
be
you
bonds
posted was,
posted in some of your other
Okay.
files with the court, but in the one you were sentenced on this morning, there is no bond posted. So the 195 will be what's owed in this disorderly person resisting arrest case, okay?
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Hadley?
no, Your Honor, thank you for the court's time. Thank you, Ms. Raff. Good luck to you, Mr. Rourke.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for
too.
your help, Ms. Rapp. Have a good day, sir. Good luck to you.
All right.
Thank
you
you,
too.
Pravachi.
Thank you, Your Honor. You and your staff have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
This is 220068OM, Sumter Township versus Gregory Vanthoff. May I have your appearances, please?
Robert Young, Your Honor, Sumter Township.
Present with me. I have an assistant from my office. He's a college student. Introduce yourself to the judge. Stand up.
Hi,
Your name?
Amy
Amy
Stuckey.
Stykey. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Your name for the record, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Jeffrey Allen Mayhoff.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for the bench trial in this matter. Mr. Young, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor. We anticipate, I'm sorry, I didn't ask him to. He's ready, I can tell. Look at him. All right. For witnesses, I assume that the court would order sequestration if that's, I have everybody outside. And if that's where we.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you sequestration. I also have an issue to raise before we get going.
Thank you.
My evidence.
What, was that the extent of your comments, Mr. Young?
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, my understanding is that counsel is going to introduce some video. And I'm going to object to videos that he is going to introduce. The videos are of people making statements, various people. I think, I'm not sure. Would you mind if I sat down?
Absolutely, please.
The videos will be of several people who are witnesses or alleged witnesses of the incident. And they all are making statements. This is not like a video of, let's say, of a motor vehicle that went off into the mud and the police are there and the video has to do with the vehicle in the mud, not with the police making statements. Say, look, here's the vehicle, here's it's in the mud, and that sort of thing. So I'm objecting, and I'm objecting under Michigan Rules of Evidence 801 hearsay. Those statements are out of court statements offered in evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted. They're clearly out of court statements. You know,
And these statements, these video statements, Mr. Vincent, from your perspective, are not for people who will be tendered as witnesses this morning?
no, there are witnesses here this morning who will be here to testify, but their statements are all, statements on the video are all out of court statements. I mean, whoever he puts on a stand, puts on a stand. I'm objecting the videos, the statements in the videos are classic hearsay, Michigan Rules of Evidence 801. Statement other than one made by the declarant will testify at a trial hearing, offered in evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted. It's right there. There's a couple of exceptions, but telling that you can bring the video in. If somebody says X, Y, Z, and on the video they say ABC, you can use the video to impeach, but you can't use the video as evidence. It's an out of court statement, and I'm going to object. I've made my record, but to me, it's clearly they're hearsay. The statements are all hearsay. There's not one that's similar to the, let's say, the example of a car in the mud. They're all statements.
Thank you.
I hesitate to argue with my elder, Your Honor, as it relates to matters of importance like this. And I beg to differ in terms of hearsay, but I think I have a resolution to this because I liked his example about the car in the mud. What he's describing, if I understand him correctly, is if we had a video of the incident occurring or related, maybe after the fact, then that may be relevant and maybe admissible. if what I'm trying to do is present to the court video of interviews that happen after the fact of witnesses who are here today and will testify, then I, for purposes of expediting, I agree. I will not offer any videos as it relates to any of the witnesses that are here. We've subpoenaed everybody. However, there was one video that he knows I'm going to try and offer, and he hasn't raised it as an issue. And that is in similarity to that incident or that example he gave with the car in the ditch in the mud, which we argued about a couple of weeks ago. And that is we had an investigation going on after this incident occurred, and we had a chest cam and a discussion with the defendant's wife. And during that investigation, as the police officers arrived on the scene, they saw what they saw. And there's a period of time where she explains to the police what happened, takes them into the house and the like. So I see a difference between those two videos. The video I have as it relates to the wife is the same as the video of the car stuck in the ditch. The videos that he doesn't want me to offer so far, for simplistic purposes, I agree. I'll offer live testimony.
So just so court's clear, there are two different videos, two different categories of videos. There's one of interview of witnesses taking their statements, and
Yes.
those witnesses are available this morning for testimony.
Yes,
Secondly, is a video that would have been from the day of the offense, January 8th of 22, where Mr. Vantoff's wife is speaking with,
police officers.
Police
arrived on the
officers.
scene.
okay,
Chest cam, when the police officers arrived on the scene, and they're just trying, the police officers are just finding out initially what happened.
the regular body cam that we're used to
Correct.
seeing during the early stages of an investigation
Correct.
or response to a call for service.
It's hearsay. Also, it's a marital privilege, which I will inform the court that his wife, Stacy Vanderhoff, will assert a marital privilege.
Are we,
There is no video at all of the incident. This is one more body cam interview. He's trying to dodge around the marital privilege by playing a video of a body cam of hours after the incident. Literally hours, might even been the next day they showed up, but at least hours after the incident.
Your Honor, actually, the entire portion that I intend to play is about 3.5 minutes. It's the first 3.5, 4 minutes.
It could be 1.5
well,
minutes, still
Mr.
hearsay.
Vincent, Mr. Young, where in the presentation of your case is this video coming?
Last.
Last.
I want the wife to, words of the wife to end my case.
Okay,
It's hearsay and a marital privilege, Your Honor.
Mr. Vincent, the court notes your argument, not making a ruling on the matter as of yet. If it's in fact the last thing that Mr. Young presents between now and the time he prepares to present it, the court will be prepared to make a ruling on it. But for right now, I hear your argument, your objection to the presentation of the video of the defendant's wife speaking to law enforcement is noted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So my understanding of where we're at, there'll be no videos shown. There's a possibility, if I lose my brilliant argument, that we'll have about 3.5 minutes of an interview despite the marital privilege.
You phrased it differently than the court would phrase it. Right now, the position is that Mr. Young will not play any videos of witnesses that are their later interviews with witnesses who will be testifying from the
Thank you.
chair this morning. The sole issue that's being reserved and not ruled on yet is whether or not the 3 or 3.5 minute video from the date of offense involving the defendant's wife may be the only video that we review. Just characterized differently than how you did, sir. Any other preliminary matters, Mr. Young?
Nothing.
Any preliminary matters, Mr. Vincent?
I think I dealt with it.
Thank you. Your first witness, sir. Or do you have an opening statement?
I mean, I don't unless the court wants to hear it.
If you want to
I'll
give
waive
it,
my-
it's your case. Thank you, Mr. Vincent.
I'll move it quickly.
Is there any chance we can get some water?
Thank you, Officer Garcia. Absolutely. So yeah, the pages of those files are mixed together because I have one case number and the ROA is something different. And then there's blue sheets in there that clearly don't belong in this. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You come up to this lectern right here in front of me. State your first and last name and then spell them both for the record, please.
Caitlin Reynolds, CAITLINREYNOLDS.
Ms. Reynolds, raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you much. Now you may come up to this black chair that's closest to me. My secretary will be taking down your testimony. If for some reason she's not picking you up, I'll ask you to either raise your voice or pull the microphone closer, okay? Thank you. Your witness, Mr. Young.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Fowle, appreciate you attending here today. You certainly are aware of why we're here. In fact, you and I have had a couple of different meetings and we've had an opportunity to discuss this matter quite a couple of times at length.
Yes.
So I don't think that background is all that necessary at this point. And you know that what we're talking about is an incident that occurred on or about January the 8th, 2022.
Yes,
You remember that date?
I do.
And let me start, if I can, according to the information that I have, the report came in around 3 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to assume that the incident picks up the day before, late in the night, somewhere 8, 9, 10 o'clock on the 7th. Am I right about that?
Yes.
All right. So,
Friday.
so on that evening, I'm talking about the beginning of the event, if you will, evening. It's my understanding that you and your boyfriend had an opportunity to visit an establishment in Sumter Township. Tell me about that, if you would.
So my son and I were gonna be going to stay at my boyfriend's that night or that weekend.
His name is Tanner Brewer.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, at the time, we didn't live there. And we were driving from Royal Oak. I got a phone call that Tanner and Chase and some of Chase's friends and acquaintances were up at Bobby McShane's because it was trivia night. Trivia or karaoke, it was trivia night, and said, just come up here and hang out. It'll be fun. They have their son up here, you know, it'll be a good time. So we went up to,
Let me stop you there. So Tanner resides in Sumter Township.
the official city is Belleville.
Okay. And you lived at that time in Royal Oak and you were on your way to meet the people that you just identified for a friendly night or a fun night or
Yeah.
so, whatever, right?
Yes,
You mentioned, your boyfriend's name is Tanner Brewer. You mentioned a gentleman by the name of Chase.
yes.
Who's Chase?
Chase is one of Tanner's best friends.
His name is Chase Music.
Chase Music, yes.
All right. And so you were aware that he would be at this McShane's bar, restaurant, whatever you want to call it also?
Yeah, he was the only other person that was there that I already knew.
All right. Did you and your son have an opportunity to arrive at McShane's?
We did,
And that's in Sumter Township, right?
correct, on Sumter Road near Willis Road.
Do you have a recollection as to what time you arrived?
Maybe 8 o'clock, about 8 o'clock probably.
All right. And how old is your son?
At the time, he was 9.
And your idea was is that you were going to have something to eat, maybe something to drink and either karaoke.
And
or-
then we were gonna go home after was the initial intent.
All right, when you're there, other than you, Tanner, your son, and Mr. Music, were there other individuals that appeared or were there?
Yes, so Chase's friend, Chris was there.
Chris
And
Gray?
I'm sorry,
Chris Gray?
yes.
Right.
And then Jeff and his wife and their infant,
Okay, Jeff, when you talk about Jeff, are you talking about Jeffrey Van Thuff
yes,
and his wife Stacy?
yes.
And had you known Mr. Van Thuff and his wife prior to arriving at McShane's that evening?
No, they were new people I was meeting for the first time.
So the first time you met, do you know that to be also the case with Tanner, your boyfriend?
I do believe that that was the first time he'd only heard of Jeff.
All right. And so what happened next?
So we were there for, I don't know how long we were there for, but we were all having the best night. Like, everybody was laughing, talking. Stacy and I were making really good
When you
friends.
say Stacy Danthop?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
We were playing with her son, everything was great. And then at the end of the night, the idea came up that they invite everybody over to their house to continue hanging out and get in the hot tub. And we all agreed that that seemed like it would be really fun because everything was just going so great that night.
Do you have a recollection as to approximately what time you left McShane's?
McShane's doesn't stay open very late. I would say maybe 10 o'clock, but I don't have a exact time.
All right, based on your recollection, then you were there a couple hours, maybe a little more.
About
whatever.
a couple hours.
You recall, were you consuming alcohol?
Yes, I had maybe a couple cans of beer.
All right. And so you and Tanner, you went to the Vanthoff's house, is that correct?
Correct.
Is that the house over on Haggerty Road, or do you know?
To my understanding,
Okay.
there was Haggerty Road was one of the roads I
All
took to get there.
And who went there? Who was there when everybody arrived?
Everybody that we were congregating with at the bar, me, my son, Tanner, Chase, Chris, Stacy, Jeff, and their baby.
All right, Chase, again, Mr. Music, right?
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Music.
Chase Music. So when you arrived, what did you guys do?
We stood around and talked for a while. Stacy offered that LJ could get in the hot tub. He said he didn't want to, he just wanted to watch a movie. And they got him set up with some cartoons and some snacks on the couch. We got him comfortable, and then Stacy offered to let me use one of her swimsuits, so we went and changed in the bathroom, and then we went outside. Well, there was a period where we were all standing around for a while listening to music and just talking about, I don't know, something that was on YouTube.
Was everybody consuming alcohol as far as you recall?
Yes,
Were you consuming alcohol?
I was.
What were you drinking, if you remember?
We had Bud Light, and then as the night went on, when we were in the hot tub, we were drinking Crown Royal Apple.
Okay, who got into the hot tub, if you remember?
All the adults, Stacy and I, Tanner, Jeff, Chris, and Chase.
All right, 6 of you in the hot tub.
Yeah,
Pretty good sized hot tub?
yeah, it was a pretty big hot tub.
And that occurred a little bit of time after you arrived, half hour, 45 minutes, or do you
I
remember?
would say probably 20 minutes to a half hour. Like I said, we stood around and we were talking about some music video on YouTube for a while, laughing, waiting for everybody to kind of settle down, and then end our conversations, and then went to go get in the hot tub.
Now, can you tell us about how long you remained in that hot tub, approximately?
I don't know, hour and a half,
Okay.
but I'm not 100% certain on the time.
So during the time that you're in the hot tub and you guys are having drinks and the like, is the best night continuing? I mean, you described a
yeah.
lot of fun at McShane's and continue into the Vanthoff's house and into the hot tub.
Yeah, everything was going off without a hitch. Everybody was laughing and talking and having a great time. Like, there was nothing that would have led me to believe that there was any kind of problems or stress.
It's important for me to ask, while you are all in the hot tub, was there any disagreements or misunderstandings that came to your attention at all during that entire period?
The only thing that had caused a bit of problem as the night went on was Mr. Gray was being really sexually inappropriate towards me, telling me to stand up, show my body, take off my top, things like that. And at one point I told him, because he was maybe he had put his hand on my leg, and I had looked at him and I told him, I said, "You don't touch me." And at that point it stopped.
All right, anything other than that?
No,
So everybody's continuing to drink, have a good time, maybe some things were said at the time or whatever, but other than that, you have no recollection.
that was the only thing that was off, but it was handled and we continued with our night, like nothing
Okay,
had ever happened. We just kind of put it aside and kept having fun.
okay. So you will put that behind you. It wasn't something that wrecked the night at that point.
No.
What happened after that? You're in the hot tub and you're continuing to drink and have a good time. What was the next thing that brought any kind of strong memory to your attention?
I mean, all I know is that we eventually, after a while, we all decided it was, I think it was Jeff that had suggested it was time for Chris to go, and he didn't put up a fight. He said, okay, no problem. I'll get out. I'll call my wife. Shortly after that, I think we all just kind of said, all right, that's, we should all probably call it a night, and we got out. There were no problems. We were all just gonna go home.
So this hot tub is in the back area
Yeah.
of the deck. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, when you go out the patio doors, the hot tub is to the left.
Okay, so what do you do after you get out? Where do you go?
So Stacy and I went into the bathroom to change out of our bathing suits.
Was that in the house?
Yeah, it was in their house, through their
Alright.
master bedroom, because I had left all my clothes in the bathroom, so we got out, we went back into the bathroom, we rinsed off, her and I chatted for a while, still just about life, family, kids, COVID lockdowns, everything, and I got myself dressed, got my coat on, got my purse, and that's when I walked out of the bathroom down the hallway.
All right, let me stop you there. So the bathroom that was in their bedroom, is that my understanding?
Yes,
And there was a shower in there?
yeah, big stand-up shower.
All right, and when you and Stacy got out of the hot tub, you agreed just go in there and wash up. Is that something you normally do? I'm not a hot tub person, so I don't know. Is that something you normally do?
I just don't like the chlorine on my skin.
Okay, I understand. How long were you in the shower?
I don't know, maybe 10 minutes.
Did you still have your bathing suit on?
No, we had taken our swimsuits off and we were rinsing off,
Okay.
talking, and got out.
Anybody else in the bathroom at that point?
No, it was just Stacy and I. The doors were open to the bathroom. I didn't see anybody.
Anybody else in the bedroom that you recall?
No.
All right, you guys get out, you said you dried off, put on your clothes. What happened next?
The other door that leads out of their bathroom goes through their walk-in closet, and I walked down the hallway toward the kitchen and living room area. And I came through and I told everybody, I'm like, all right, you guys, it was, great to meet you guys. I had a great night. Like, we'll see you later. And that's when Jeff
Let
became.
me stop you before we get into that. I don't hear you mention Tanner. Is Tanner around?
Oh, no, Tanner had taken my son out. After Tanner got out of hot tub, he dried off right away. And got my son off the couch, and they were warming the truck up, just waiting for me to go get in the truck. So Tanner and my son Tanner took him out there when I had gone into the bathroom to get rinsed off.
Okay, so as far as you know, you weren't there to see that, but as far as you know, he left the house, went out, warmed up the truck with your son, was waiting for you.
Right.
All right, you're coming down the hallway.
Yeah.
What happens?
I start telling everybody goodbye, and Jeff got irate and
Mr. Van Thup, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Van Thup? Okay, go ahead.
started screaming at me, accusing me of trying to have sex with his wife. And I immediately I just kind of went into damage control and just saying, like, what do you do? Like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. That's not the case. And he continued to assert that I was trying to fuck his wife. And then said,
Let me stop you. Did he use those words?
yeah, you're trying to fuck my wife. And then he said, you're gonna fuck me too. And he took his swimsuit off.
All right, let me stop you for here. Now, you're coming down the hallway, and have you gotten out of the hallway before this altercation or this discussion or this
I was
exchange occurred?
at the end of the hallway where it opens up into their living room. If you're facing their kitchen, the living room opens up to the left.
Where's Mr. Van Thup at?
He was standing over by an island, like just ahead of where I was standing.
How many feet away from you roughly, if you can guess or have some idea? let me
Maybe
know.
15.
Okay, so you're having that conversation you just described.
Yeah, he's screaming at me. And I'm trying to tell him that I had no idea what he was talking about, like, that's not what was going on. And then he told me that I was gonna then, you're gonna fuck me too. He took off his swimsuit. He was completely naked and he charged at me and started screaming at me. Get the fuck out of my house, you fucking whore. Get, you dumb bitch, get the fuck out of my house. And he charged at me and he grabbed me by my coat and my sweater. And he slammed me against the wall in the hallway. Was just screaming at me, you dumb fucking bitch, you dumb whore, get the fuck out of my house. And he slammed me against the wall. And then he grabbed me from the wall and he yanked me away and threw me down on the floor. And I was dragged through the hallway into like the open area where the table is, between the couch and the table. And he was on top of me, like pressing down on me, screaming at me, get the fuck out of my house, you dumb bitch, get the fuck out of my house. And he was just holding me down on the ground. And I just remember, like yelling and screaming, and I remember Stacy was still in the hallway yelling. After that had gone on for a couple of minutes, Tanner came
All right,
in.
let's stop there for a second. Okay, I mean, I can tell, you okay?
Yes,
So before we get to Tanner, let me just go back and fill in a couple of things. You need to take a break?
no, I'm okay.
So do you remember during this time, who else is in the room other than you and Mr. Vantoff?
I know Chase was standing next to Jeff Vanhoff, and Stacy was behind me because I had come out of the bathroom first because I was getting ready to leave, and then I think Chris was still there waiting for his wife to come and pick him up.
All right, now, when you say Chase, we're talking about Chase Music, who we
Music.
talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Your recollection is Mr. Music is in the room, Stacy's in the room, and Chris might have been there, he might have been gone, who knows? Anybody else?
No,
All right, and then you started to tell me about Tanner.
yeah,
Mr. Brewer, your boyfriend,
yeah,
who last we heard was outside in
in the
a
truck
pickup
waiting
truck
for
or
me.
truck waiting for you. And so how is it that you first saw him?
He comes barreling through the door that goes from the garage into the hallway, and Tanner just starts screaming, what the fuck is going on? And came and grabbed Jeff and like threw Jeff off of me and kept telling him to relax, like, what is going on? Calm down, what's going on? And
Let me stop you if I can. So he comes through the door. Was that the glass sliding door? you
no,
talked-
he came in through the entry door through the garage that goes right into the
Oh, okay.
hallway.
All right. Now, at that moment when he comes in, where are you at?
I'm on the ground underneath Jeff.
Are you on your back,
I'm on my back.
looking up?
I'm looking up at, because he was holding me down by my shirt and my coat,
Is he,
stark naked.
I mean, is he straddling you or what? was
Yeah,
it?
oh yeah, he was straddled over top of me, holding me down, screaming for me to get out of this house, so he was pinning me on the floor.
Okay, so then Tanner comes in and he reacts the way that you indicated he reacted, and he came over. Tell us what happened next.
He threw him off me and was just yelling at Jeff to stop and to calm down and demanding to know what happened. I had gotten up at that time. And then Jeff turned around and ran back into the kitchen and grabbed a knife out of the kitchen. And then came charging back into where I was at. And that's when Tanner grabbed him and threw him on the ground and was holding him down, telling him to calm down. And he wouldn't calm down. I don't know how, but Jeff had grabbed back a hold of me again and was like pulling me with his right hand. He was like pulling me and wouldn't let me go. And I tried to hit him. I was hitting him to get him to let go of me, and he wouldn't let go of me. And that's when Tanner started striking him to get him to let go of me.
So is he on his back at this point, Jeff, or is he
Jeff,
up
at
against the
that-
wall?
Jeff was on the floor and Tanner was physically restraining him at that
Well,
point.
how is it that he could get a hold of you?
I don't remember how he got a hold of me. All I remember is that he grabbed back a hold of me again. I don't even remember how he got a hold of me the second time.
The knife that you described, was that the one that Stacy took out of his hand?
I don't remember her seeing it. I remember Chase kicking it from his hand. But Tanner was, it took Chase and Tanner, but Tanner was holding him down, and wouldn't calm down. And like I said, however he had gotten a hold of me, I don't even know how he got a hold of me a second time, but he had like grabbed my coat. Then, like I said, I was hitting him to try and get him to let go of me, and he wouldn't let go. And when he wouldn't calm down, that's when Tanner started to strike him to get him to let go.
So at that point, after Tanner hit him?
After he hit him, he finally stopped whatever he was going through. And Tanner just said, get your shit. He's like, we're getting the fuck out of here. We're calling the police. And at that point, I ran out the door and we left.
Okay. And Tanner came behind you? Did you go back in that night?
No.
All right,
no.
so did you call the police, or did Tanner call the police? or-
Tanner and Chase had called the police.
Chase Music?
Yes, Tanner and Chase, one of them had called the police. I had gotten LJ home and they said that Sumter police were gonna come to the house and talk to me. And then everything after that was just, I don't know, my adrenaline was just going so much, but I know that I ended up going back up to the Sumter police, or I went up to the Sumter police station to give my statement.
Okay. Now, during the time that you were in the Van Thop house, was the first time that you were, I'll use this nicely, asked to leave? Was that when you had the altercation with Mr. Van Thop, or prior to that time, were you ever asked to leave?
No, I wasn't asked to leave at any other point. It was just, you were back there fucking my wife, or you were trying to fuck my wife, and then he came and then attacked me.
Okay. And up until that point, had you had any words with Jeff, any altercation, any disagreement, any misunderstanding, at least in your mind, as to
No,
what might have caused this, other than what he's indicated?
no, I thought that the night had gone absolutely flawless up until that point. Like, I thought, like, I knew I was gonna be moving to Sumter. And I was actually really excited because I thought I had made like a really new, good friend. And that moment when I left, or when I was trying to leave, and then Jeff completely lost it, that was just, it was a complete 180 of how the entire night had been in my mind.
When you were walking down the hall after you came out of the shower, was it your intent to go out the door?
Yeah, I was just saying my final goodbyes to Jeff and Chase Music, and then I was leaving.
Wasn't what you weren't going to remain? You were just going out to get
I
the
was
car
just-
with Tanner.
Yeah, I was just saying bye to everybody, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Somewhat is made of the next day when you and Tanner went back to this house for a reason.
Yes.
Saw it in the report. Can you tell us what occurred?
Yeah, so, Stacy had already been trying to get in touch with Tanner, and they were going back and forth on Facebook Messenger or text message about, trying to get me to not trying to get me to not press charges. And, I realized that my brand new cowboy boots that I had worn to the bar that night, I couldn't find them. When I left the house, I was in my Crocs that I had worn in, because I knew my feet were gonna be wet, so I thought that I had left these brand new cowboy boots at the house. And Stacy through
Stacy
and
Van Toff is
Stacy
who
Van
you're
Toff and Tanner were messaging somehow. And she said she didn't see him, but we were welcome to come and look. And at that point, Tanner had been told by Chase, and I'm sure they'll say it, they'll talk about it later, but we were under the impression that the only reason we were gonna go back and look for my boots was because we thought that Jeff was in the hospital.
Jeff Van Topp, you're
yes.
talking about?
Yes, we were under the impression that he was not at the house, and that was the only way that we were gonna go back and look for my shoes. So that's why we had gone out to their house to look for my boots. So we got there, and Stacy greeted us at the door in the garage that we came in. And then she was crying, and we hugged, and after a couple of minutes, just discussing the night, she was apologizing. We went in the house and just kind of looked around the areas I knew I was. But at one point I turned around and I noticed that Jeff Van Hoff was actually in the house, in the bed, in their bedroom. And that was the first I knew that he was actually at the house.
What'd you do then?
I just kind of stood there and I made sure that I had Tanner in front of me. Jeff came out of the bedroom and stood in the hallway and gave an apology. And I just stood there and stared at him and I didn't say anything. And then shortly after that, we just left. I never found my boots there.
Did you suffer any bruises or contusions or cuts or anything?
Yeah, I had handprints on both of the insides of my arms. I had bruises on my shoulder from when I hit the floor. I had bruises on my forearm. And then that night I had leggings on, so I had like floor burn and bruising on my knees.
Connor, can you mark these?
Yes, please.
4 pictures, which one's called all exhibit 1 is fine with me. Or all exhibit 1.
Yes, you may approach the witness.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit 1. And if you can take a look at it real quick.
Could you hold it up?
Yeah.
Thank you.
These were the photos.
Switch the baby pictures.
No tell, no tell.
All right, can you describe for us, please, what you're looking at?
These were the photos that the one detective took of me. I was asked to go back so they could photograph my bruises.
That was the next day.
Yeah, that was the next day.
All right, take a look at all 4 pictures, please, if you would.
This was the beginning of the bruises developing on the inside of my left arm. These were the bruises starting to develop on one of my knees. And then this is my other knee.
Have you had a chance to look at these? Do these adequately depict the condition of your easy order here of your face?
The next day, yes, but the bruises continue to develop over. the
But when
next
these,
day.
when these pictures were taken, as they look right now, do these pictures adequately show us
Yeah.
what it looked like at the time these were taken?
The next day, that's what, yes.
Right? Got move to the next.
Mr. Vincent?
Court, do you want?
Absolutely, sir. I'm sorry, no, Mr. Vincent, my question was as to the
I'm gonna
Any
board here-
objection?
I'm gonna board here.
Okay,
on the picture. With court permission.
absolutely.
Where, where were these pictures taken at?
They were taken at the Sumter Township Police Department,
And they were taken the day after.
correct?
Was this, these pictures were taken after you went over to Van Hoff's house or before?
Those were taken after we had gone and tried to find my boots first thing in the morning.
And you found the boots, right?
I did find the boots.
I'm sorry, you did not
I did find my boots, yeah.
at their house.
No, they
Okay.
were under the seat in the back of my truck. I just, everything, I said, everything was just so chaotic. I just,
Understood.
They show, the pictures I'm looking at show abrasions to your right and left knee, correct?
correct.
And these were taken by a police officer?
Yes. It's not in here right now, but he took them.
And could you tell me what this picture is?
Those are,
Is that your, is
that's the inside of my left
it
arm.
your bicep area,
Yes, right here.
bicep, tricep area?
Yes, sir.
It looks like there's like maybe 2 or 3 bruises there,
Yes.
and there's no bruises or marks on your face at all, correct?
No, my
You want me
face
to-
looks swollen on the left side, but there was no,
By my issue, were there any bruises on your face?
no, there were no bruises on my face.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, we need a motion. I don't know if there was an opposition to that or not, but I move to admit as exhibit 1.
No objection.
Thank you.
They're received.
Last question, after meeting with the Vantoffs the following day, have you had any communication with them of any kind since that time?
Thank you.
Stacy Van Hoff sent me a message on Facebook asking me to reconsider pressing the charges. And I did not respond.
Anything other than that?
No.
No further questions. Thank you. ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Vincent, your witness.
Ms. Reynolds, how old are you?
I'm 36 years old.
It's a fair statement, you never met the Van Hoffs before that evening.
That's correct. I've never met them.
And what time did you get to McShane's?
I thought it was about 8
8
o'clock.
o'clock?
About that, yeah.
Okay, and McShane's is a restaurant bar, right?
Correct.
They serve food, but they serve a lot of alcohol. Fair statement?
That's a bar and restaurant, yes.
And you got there around 8 o'clock with
With my son, yeah.
your son is 9 years old, right?
At the time, yes, he was 9 years
You
old.
brought him into the bar
Yes, I brought him in there.
and you sat down at the table.
Yeah, we were all standing.
Where was Mr. Tanner at?
Tanner, everybody was sitting and standing around a bar height table.
Actually, his name is Mr. Brewer, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Tanner
Tanner Brewer, yes.
And would you describe Tanner Brewer as a very large man?
Yes,
Football lineman size, 6'4", 6'5", 280 approximately.
I think he's 5'11",
Big guy though.
big guy, yeah.
And was he drinking?
Yes,
Were you drinking?
yes,
And they serve alcohol, mixed drinks, and they serve beer there. Did you have beer?
I did. I had Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Did you have any alcohol beverages, not besides beer?
I don't think I did. I thought I just had cans of beer that night.
So you were there at least 2 to 3 hours before the bar closed.
I'd say about 2. I think we went there I think we were invited back to Jeff and Stacy Van Hoff's about 10.
Bar closes not at 10 o'clock, they close later than that, correct?
I know that the establishments in Willis and Sumter close earlier. There-
Did you stay to closing?
I don't think it was closing. I'm not sure.
So
I
how
don't-
many
I
beers
don't
do
know
you
the-
think you had over 2-3 hours?
I don't know the business hours off the top of my head.
How many beers do you think you had over 2 or 3 hours?
I think I had 2 or 3 cans of beer.
All right. And how many mixed drinks did you have? How many like whiskey drinks did you have? Vodka? that
I
sort
don't
of-
think I drank any liquor that night. We didn't drink any liquor until after we got back to the Van Hoffs.
But you're not sure, are you?
Not 100%.
How about Mr. Brewer, Tanner Brewer? Is he drinking
Yeah, he's just drinking beer.
any alcohol? When I say alcohol, I mean Jack Daniels, things like that, vodka.
Usually when we go out, we only drink,
So you're
Yeah.
sitting at a table with you, your boyfriend.
Mhm.
How long have you two been together?
it'll be 2 years in December.
All right, and Chase was there too with you, right?
Correct, Chase Music.
And how much did he have to drink?
I don't know. They were there before, they were already there when I arrived.
When you say they, you mean
And
Mr. Brewer?
The
and,
entire party except for my son and I, they
Mr.
were all already.
Music. So how many people were drinking at the table? I know your son wasn't drinking, but how,
All the adults at the table were drinking.
but
with
how
the
many
ex-
adults were there?
Jeff Van Hoff, Stacy Van Hoff, Chris Gray, myself, and Tanner.
All around
and
the same
Chase.
table?
Yeah, we were all kind of standing in the
Okay.
same area.
After, did you have anything to eat there?
Yeah, I think they had ordered a couple of plates and we were just kind of picking off the plates of food.
But
that
mainly
were-
it was for drinking, correct?
I'm sorry?
Mainly it was for drinking, not for eating, correct?
Because when my son was with me, they said, come up here and get something to eat and have some drinks and hang out.
Mainly everybody there was drinking, not eating.
Yes,
You-
everybody.
You
was-
described it as picking at the food. so
Yeah,
everyone
everybody
drinking.
was eating, everybody was drinking.
Ms. Reynolds, Mr. Vincent knows this, but only one person can talk at a time because what happens is the transcript
Okay,
becomes mixed up. So if you would let her finish her answers and conversely, Ms. Reynolds, if you let him finish his
Yes.
questions. Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Let's try to do better, okay? So you left McShane's with your son.
Mhm.
Did you drive separate from Mr. Brewer? You have to say yes, by the way. I don't know if to pick up, All right? You have to say yes. Did you leave with your son separate from Mr. Brewer?
Yes, I followed them.
And you drove over to their house. You were invited to the Van House.
Correct, I was invited.
And you arrived there sometime around midnight, 11 o'clock midnight.
I'm not sure of the exact arrival time, sir.
You brought your son with you, correct?
Correct,
And you set him up on the couch or in a separate room watching TV?
yes.
Which was it? Separate room?
It was their kitchen and their living room. It's a big open floor
Yes,
plan.
I've seen pictures.
So it would have been the same room. It's just a big open room with the living room set up here and the couch set up here.
And he was on the couch
Yes,
watching TV.
yes.
Did he eventually fall asleep to your knowledge?
I don't recollect one way or the other whether or not he fell asleep.
So while he was on the couch watching TV,
Mhm.
what, as you described it, and I'm gonna describe it, this is a large, great room. Where it's one big room with the kitchen at one end and a family room, living room, whatever you want to call it, at the other end, with couches and TV sets and things like that.
Correct, side by side.
And then leading off that big room is a hallway, correct?
If you are facing in the direction where the kitchen and the living room are in front of you, there is a long hallway that you have to walk through to get into that area.
And that hallway contains bedrooms, as far as you know.
At the very end of the hallway was the bathroom and the bedroom.
How long do you think that hallway is? Here's a good way to measurement. An average automobile is about 15 feet long. Was it 1 car length, 2 car lengths long?
Maybe 15 to 20
So
feet.
between 15 to a little bit more than a car length. Fair statement?
Maybe.
Then from there you walk out into the garage parking area.
We entered the house through the door in the garage, correct?
So if you were in that hallway, instead of going to the great room, and if you wanted to go to the great room, or you could go the opposite way, out the hall, down the hallway and out the back door.
You walk in through the garage Immediately to the right is their large walk-in closet with a bathroom attached. If you go to the left, their bedroom is on the right, and if you proceed into the room is the big living room kitchen area and the
I'm
patio.
talking about if you go out the door to outside the house, at the end of the hallway, not the hallway that ends in the great room, but opposite end of the hallway.
The hallway that goes into the garage?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's about 15 feet to 10 feet away, correct?
If-
Close.
yeah, that's what I can.
And that's
estimate.
where Tanner Brewer had parked his truck, correct?
We parked in the driveway.
Is that near the garage?
The distance from our truck to the garage was 30 feet?
So nearby.
Yes, we were in
So
their
if you
driveway.
went out the back door, I'm gonna call it the back door
Okay.
of that hallway, you would go to your truck or Mr. Brewer's truck, correct?
Correct,
And that's where you park your vehicle.
yes,
Out the hallway, to the right, 2 cars parked.
yes,
Then you walk in down the hallway. Now, you described a master bedroom with a bathroom, and you also described a walk-in closet with another bathroom,
There was only one bathroom.
only one bathroom. Where was that bathroom at?
The bathroom was in the corner of the house. There was one way to get into the closet, and then there was a door into the bathroom. And then you could go into the master bedroom, and then there was also another entry door into you go into the bedroom, there was also another entry door to their bathroom, which was aligned in the corner of the house.
This was a large shower area, right? The shower
Yeah,
was large,
they had a very large
could
bathroom
hold 2 people, right?
out easily.
And the 2 people that held that night was you and Stacy, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you didn't, I listened to when you were talking with the prosecutor, you didn't really talk too much about that, but you guys were naked in the shower, correct?
Yeah, we went into the
Ma'am,
bathroom.
it's yes or no, were you naked in the shower
Your Honor,
together?
she has an opportunity to provide her answer, not his answer. So I would
I'm
just
asking a
ask
yes or
her
no
if they
question.
give
Oh,
the
hey,
opportunity.
hey. Your objection's noted.
May I continue, Your
Second
Honor?
time, Mr. Vincent, you know that she has to finish her answer, or Mary Ann's going to try to do a transcript that she can't pull the voices apart. So let's
All right,
be a little bit more mindful.
this is a yes or no question. The 2 of you were naked in the shower.
Yes,
How long were you naked in the shower with Stacy, correct? How long?
approximately 10 minutes.
Did anybody else enter into the bathroom while you and Stacy were naked in the shower?
Not to my knowledge.
You don't remember Jeff walking in and seeing the 2 of you together naked in the shower?
No,
You don't remember that at all?
no,
How much had you had to drink when you were in the hot tub?
maybe a few more beers.
Any hard liquor?
I think everybody took a shot of Crown Royal Apple.
So you're drinking Crown Royal and more beer, right?
Yes,
You don't remember Jeff coming in?
no, Stacy nor I acknowledged anybody was in the
You
bathroom.
remember Jeff saying, "What's going on?" Words to that effect.
He said that after I was preparing to walk out the door.
What I'm asking is, in the bathroom, while you're naked in the shower, you and Stacy, do you remember Jeff saying anything to you while the 2 of you were there?
No, nobody was in the bathroom except for Stacy and I.
And you don't remember Jeff saying, "I want to join the 2 of you as long as you're going to have sex with my wife, you're going to have sex with me"?
That was not said to me until I was dressed and preparing to leave the house.
It's what you're telling us. After the shower, you got up, dried yourself off, got dressed, and walked out in the hallway.
Yes,
And you're telling us Jeff got angry, however you want to describe it, with you after you had left the shower,
correct,
after you had left the bathroom.
correct.
You were in the hallway.
Yes,
He was in the great room.
yes.
Now, you used a term, I think I read somewhere, fight or flight. Are you familiar? What does that term mean to you?
To me, that's when your baser instincts kick in and you either need to escape for your survival or you need to do what you can to fight to survive.
Did you have that feeling?
I did. I immediately became incredibly frightened when,
But I understand. Yes or no? Did you have that feeling?
yes, I did have a fight or flight instinct. I was afraid of what was about to happen to me.
And this is why you were in the hallway. And Jeff was in the great room.
Yes, I was in the hallway because I was saying goodbye to leave.
And you described the two of you being 15 feet or so apart, correct?
About,
And the garage is right behind you. When you were coming out of the hallway into the great room to say goodbye to people. The hallway 15 or so feet away, I think you said 15, 20
there
feet.
was a.
Ma'am, let me finish my
Sorry.
question. You're getting in trouble with the judge by doing this. You can't talk over each other, okay? So you're about 20 feet away from exiting out of the house into the garage parking lot area. Isn't that correct?
When I stopped to say goodbye to everybody, I would estimate I was about 10 to 15 feet from the exit door.
Into the garage area.
That's correct.
So all you had to do is turn around and go out that garage, I'm gonna call it the garage door area, where your boyfriend, Tanner Brewer, was with your 9-year-old son.
Correct.
Did you do that?
I wasn't physically able to get out of the house.
Did you go towards Jeff? Did you try to fight him?
No, and if I can continue an answer, I originally,
Ma'am,
Started-
let me ask my question. You have a very able prosecutor. He'll follow up anything you want to add, okay? Try to answer my question. You're in the hallway. Supposedly you say goodbye to people. 15 feet away or so was Jeff Van Hook. And you see that he was saying nasty things, calling you names, correct?
yes,
And you didn't turn around and go down out the hallway or the garage. At that point, you didn't do that, right?
no, I was trying to de-escalate the situation.
Instead, you stayed there, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you waited for Jeff to come up to you, or did you approach Jeff?
Jeff charged at me.
So you waited for him to charge you,
Yes, I was waiting for a physical assault to happen to me.
and the two of you fought?
No, Jeff physically attacked me. He is a man and is presumably stronger than me, so there wasn't a lot I can do at that time.
You tried your best,
I
correct?
tried my best to get away.
Okay, and did you scratch him or hit him at all, or just push him away, or what did you do to him?
At that point, I think my adrenaline had kicked in so much, I was just screaming for him to get off
Do you
me.
remember hitting him in the face
I did remember hitting him in the face, yes.
more than once?
I hit him maybe 2 or 3 times to get him to let go of me after he had gotten a hold of me the
You
second
did the
time.
best you could fighting him, right?
Yes,
I think you would. Well, look, reading police report, you weigh about 130 pounds.
yes, I weigh about
You're not a big woman,
no, I'm not a large woman.
but you fought him and you lost. Fair statement?
Yes, I definitely lost that fight.
And about that time, you were yelling, correct?
Yes, I'm certain I was.
And you heard Stacy yell, correct?
I believe I heard her screaming for him to stop.
She was screaming.
Yes,
And about that time, Tanner Brewer, your boyfriend, came in, correct?
after I had been pinned on the floor, yes, then Tanner
And
came
then,
in
okay,
and,
towards the end of you two fighting, you were on the floor, Tanner Brewer came in where you two were.
yes,
And he, I'm not asking for a blow by blow, but basically grabbed him, and threw him off. Fair
Yeah.
statement?
yes,
And the two of them went at it.
Yes, Tanner continued to try and restrain and stop Jeff.
I'm sorry, but I don't go back and get it,
No worries.
but I'm getting better. May I approach the witness?
Wait, Mr. Young?
I've seen that, Your Honor.
Okay, yes, Mr. Vincent.
You know what that is?
That looks like Jeff Van Hoff.
Did you do all that, or did somebody else do that?
I didn't bloody him like that, no,
So when you hit him in the face, you did not blood, him, correct?
no,
Even though you hit him 2 or 3 times.
yes.
Now, once. We're going to see Mr. Brewer. I've seen him out in the hallway and I've seen pictures. He is one big man,
Yes,
correct? Powerful.
yes,
And Jeff probably weighs, probably weighs about 160 pounds. He's not a big guy.
okay.
Average, about an average size guy, right? Do you remember? Let me rephrase this. Do you remember Mr. Brewer getting him down on the ground or the floor, somewhere around the kitchen area and punching him?
I remember the succession of what led up to Tanner hitting Jeff, yes.
You know, there was a fight back and forth between the two of them, correct?
Yes, they were,
And basically, I'm sorry, and basically, Jeff didn't stop right away, correct?
correct,
And Mr. Brewer kept at him until he stopped. Fair
correct,
statement?
correct.
And part of that, you were somehow, Mr. Van Hoff, Jeff, was on the floor and he was getting punched by Mr. Brewer, correct?
Yes, that was the summation of everything.
And somehow you were there and he had grabbed hold of your sweatshirt.
Yes, I don't remember if he reached for me when Tanner was throwing him to the ground or if he reached out and grabbed me and
Somehow.
somehow he got back.
Right,
hold of
somehow
me
you
and-
had, so you had to be near him when this punching was going on, correct?
Yes, I believe that Jeff still had a hold of me. And then that's why Tanner started to hit him because he would not let go of me.
All right, and eventually he let go of you
Yes.
and eventually the fight quit.
As soon as that happened, we ran out the door,
Then you went out that hallway door.
the one into the garage, yes.
All right. You drove home or you went to Mr. Brewer's house or whatever.
Yes,
Your son didn't see any of this because.
no, thank God.
Yeah, luckily he was in the car with Mr. Brewer. So the next day, you went over to the house because you thought you left your expensive cowboy boots?
Yes,
Okay. These are kind of like fancy boots that.
about a
women wear.
$200 pair of Durango cowboy boots, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty fancy. And you didn't know where you left them.
No, and all the commotion, I had no idea where they were.
So you thought you might have left your boots.
Yes, they were worn into the Van Hoff's house. And I carried my Crocs with me so I wouldn't get my boots wet at the end of the
But
evening.
somehow the boots ended up under the your car seat, correct?
In the back of my truck, yes,
Of your truck.
yes.
You don't know how they got there, do you?
No, I didn't know if Tanner took them or if I had them already when we were rushing out of the house. I just, everything was,
Would it be fair to say that you were fairly intoxicated that evening?
as soon as the attack happened, that was a very sobering event.
You're not answering my question, you know that? Please answer my question. You were drunk that night, weren't you?
I would say I was buzzed, yes, sir.
You managed to drive home.
The original intent was not for me to drive home. It was to get a ride home.
You drove home. Where was this 9-year-old, what's his name, LJ?
Yes,
What vehicle was he in?
he was in the back seat of my pickup truck.
You drove home intoxicated, you stayed home, and the next morning you went back over to the van office, correct?
I did drive over the van house, yes,
Looking for your boots.
correct.
And you kind of hugged, you and Stacy hugged each other.
Yes, we both cried.
When you were in the shower, were you hugging each other?
No,
Okay. I'm sorry, Counselor, I get to ask.
No, that's
questions.
okay. There's
I,
always a
I,
period.
I
of
get to
silence,
ask, I
so
get
go
to
ahead.
ask a
Go
question.
ahead. I mean, I
without
apologize.
making a
I
remark.
apologize.
That's inappropriate. You
It's
know,
very
I like
inappropriate.
you.
I agree. On both sides, it's very inappropriate.
That's inappropriate.
Okay, you have an interest in listening to this. I get it. You want to take everybody off the beaten path and it's got nothing to do
Please stop
with this
editorial.
woman getting beaten up by your client for no reason. You know it and I know it.
Mr. Young and Mr. Vincent. We're an hour into this. If we're gonna hear from 3 or 4 more witnesses, we have to figure out how to move through this a little bit differently, okay?
Just about
I-
done.
Thank you.
You both were sorry. You hugged each other, you both were sorry, right?
I wasn't sorry for anything. She said she was sorry.
Okay. Did Mr. Brewer and Jeff fist bump each other? Remember that?
Yeah, I think when Jeff came out and apologized, I believe Tanner was just like, hey, man, you know, it's cool.
Okay. And that's the last of it. You didn't, never saw him since, until now.
Correct.
Thanks, ma'am.
Mr. Young,
So you're in the hallway, coming down the hallway, nothing is going on. And the first contact you have when you come out with Mr. Vantoff is 15 feet away or thereabouts by the island. And that's when he starts yelling at you, right?
Yes,
And you didn't think at that moment to turn and run out the door. You were shocked, I think is what you told me earlier.
yeah.
You were stunned.
I was just trying to de-escalate the situation. That whatever he was accusing me of was not what reality was.
You had no idea what he was talking about.
No, and I asserted that. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about, like, what are you talking about?
And you took a moment to try and explain it to him. Is that right?
Yes,
He
and
did leave
And
a
what
question.
happened after that?
Objection, leading question.
Withdraw the
objection.
question. Your Honor.
I was gonna say objection overruled, but
That's okay. What
6-0.
happened after that?
I tried to plead with Jeff for, I don't even think it was 15 seconds, that I had no idea what he was talking about. And then he immediately took off his pants and just charged at me.
You didn't stand there for 15 or 20 minutes listening to this with every opportunity to leave. This happened in a short period of time. Is that right?
It happened very fast.
All right, now let's go to when Tanner is having his altercation with Mr. Vantoff. There seems to be some suggestion that this was that it was over with quickly and that Mr. Tanner hit him quickly and it was done, whatever the case may be. But do you recall witnessing this interaction?
I did. Tanner originally was just verbally trying to de-escalate it, screaming at Jeff, telling him to calm down.
Did he have a hold of Jeff?
Not the entire time, no.
Was he
had-
between you and Jeff?
Yes, he was.
And so at what point did the first punch start?
The first punch started after Jeff wasn't calming down. Tanner had Jeff on the floor and he kept screaming at him to calm down. And like I said, I don't know how he had gotten a hold of my coat the second time, but he wasn't letting go of me. And that's when Tanner hit him in the face. And after he hit him, I don't know how many times he hit him, he finally let go of my coat.
We heard this term fight, flight, whatever it is, cute term. So at what time did you develop a feeling of fighting that you described? Did that happen when you came out of the shower?
No.
Did it happen when you were walking down the hall?
No,
Did it happen when you were first confronted by Mr. Vantoff?
not necessarily.
Did it
right-
happen when he attacked you?
Well, yeah, once he came at me and threw me against the wall, yes. But originally, I just thought I could calm him down by telling him what he was asserting was not true.
This wasn't a fight where you and him were gonna stand toe to toe and see who the better person was it?
Far from it.
I hate to ask you this question, but I have to since it came up. When you were in the shower, was there any, and you'll know what I mean by this, any inappropriate conduct between you and Stacy Van Toth at all that would cause, well, let me leave it at that. I hate to go into that nature of
No.
things, but I'm gonna ask you, was there any touching or any sexual contact between you and Stacy at all?
Nothing sexual. We were just, I don't know, we're girls. I guess I just don't view seeing each other naked as a sexual thing, especially when we're talking about our spouses and children.
Did you have any
Right.
romantic contact?
No,
Thank you. Ms. Reynolds, thank you for your testimony this morning. You may step down.
thank you.
No. Jeez.
Anybody?
That you can leave it there, face down for me, please. Thank you.
I won't be calling her again. I don't know if she be in the courtroom.
Mr. Vincent, any objection?
I doubt it, I'll be calling her again.
Thank you. Ms. Reynolds, yes, you may stay in the courtroom.
I would ask her not to talk to people not testifying, that's all.
She's out in the hallway with detective. Come all the way up to this lectern for me, sir. Up here, right here. Good morning.
Morning.
Need you to state your name for me and then spell it for the record.
Chase Music, ChaseMusic.
Thank you. Raise your right hand for me, please, Mr. Music. Do you swear or affirm testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you much. Come up here, please. Have a seat in this black chair closest to me. And Mr. Young, before you start. Romulus? Hi. Oh, there we go. I'm Aramus this morning, Mr. Young. Romulus popped in, but then he left, so we might be interrupted. But you can start your questioning of Mr. Music.
Mr. Music, thank you for coming here today. You are, your name is Chase Music. Do you reside in Sumter Township? And if not, where do you reside?
Belleville.
All right, let me cut to the chase because the day is moving on quickly. Do you remember, you know why we're here, right?
Yes.
In fact, you and I had a moment to speak for the first time in the hallway or in my office, I guess, before coming in here today.
Yes.
We spent about 10 minutes going over what your understanding of the story was, basically.
Yes.
So let me ask you, this incident occurred on January the 8th in the wee hours of the morning that we've established. And I guess you might say it started the day before, at night at McShane's. Do you remember that?
Yes.
All right, can you tell me what time you arrived at McShane's? It would be on the 7th.
I'm not exactly sure of the time.
Did you come by yourself?
Me and Tanner.
You and Tanner drove there? All right, and when you got there, who else was there in your party? And you know the people I'm talking about.
It was, at first, it was just me and Tanner. And then we called Chris, and Chris ended up coming there. And that's when Jeff and Stacy walked in, and we ended up seeing them and mingling together after.
And
We
at
were
some
there for a
point,
while.
Caitlin was called and she came with her son.
Yes, I think she came there.
Got any idea about what time it was that everybody was together initially?
I honestly, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I don't know, 11.
Okay,
I'm
Now
not
you're-
exactly sure of the time though.
McShane's, you're at McShane's there on Sumter Road, right?
Yeah,
What are you doing? Drinking and eating or just
Yeah.
drinking?
drinking, eating, we might have had some snacks, I don't remember exactly.
Everybody drinking?
Yeah, as far as I knew,
What
yeah.
was everybody drinking? Do you remember?
Beer.
Beer for the most part?
Beer for the most part.
All right, now you were friends at that time initially before you got there with Tanner, of course. That's Tanner Brewer we're talking about, right?
Yes.
And who else did you know?
I mean, I knew everybody. I know Tanner, I know Jeff, I know Jeff's wife, I know,
When you say Jeff, you talk about Mr. Vantoff,
yes,
all right? Who else?
I know Chris, I mean,
So you knew
our
everybody
whole-
but Caitlin?
no, I knew Caitlin.
You
Yeah,
knew everybody?
I knew everybody.
Okay, you're the glue, the linchpin on all of this, for this night. All right, so what happened while you were at the bar? You're there for a period of time. You guys are eating, drinking, having a good time?
Yep, eating, drinking, having a good time, and then, we had the idea to go to Jeff's house and go in the hot tub, and that's what we ended up doing.
Do you have any recollection as to what time that was you left?
Honestly, no.
Do you have any recollection as to what time you arrived at the Vantoff's house by any chance?
Maybe midnight-ish or 11 or 12, maybe. I'm not sure,
Okay.
honestly, the
You're
time.
giving us quite a range, so you just don't remember.
Yeah, I can't put a time on it.
Did everybody go that we mentioned here? Everybody showed up at the Vantoff house?
Yes,
What happened after that?
so we go into the hot tub and we're drinking in the hot tub, and
Well, let me ask you this, when you first got there, did you jump in the hot tub or did you stand around, have a drink and listen to music and that kind of thing, or?
yeah, I think we stood around for a little bit first, and then maybe a half hour or so, and then went in the hot tub.
Who got in the hot tub?
Me, Tanner, Tanner's girlfriend, Caitlin, Chris, Jeff, and Jeff's wife.
So it's a pretty good size
Yeah, there's
hot tub.
five of us.
And how long, do you have a recollection as to how long you guys remained in the hot tub? I know I'm fast forwarding a little bit here, but did you stay in there 15 minutes? Did you stay in there 2 hours, or do you have any recollection?
I can't put a time on it, honestly.
When you were in the hot tub, what was happening?
We were just talking, drinking, talking, having a good time, listening to music, watching TV.
During the time that you were in the hot tub, I'm talking beginning to end, was there any time that there was any problems that ensued between anybody, any difficulty, any issues, any confrontations or the like?
Nope.
No problems, just a fun time.
Yep.
Did this fun time come to an end at some point?
Yeah, I think we finally decided that we were gonna go in for the night. And then that's kind of when it all broke loose.
And again, you don't recall what time that was.
Do not.
What time is it that, well, let me back it up. What is the first thing you remember when you left the hot tub area?
Going into the house, and I think that's when everybody started looking for their clothes and everything to dry off and gather towels and get dressed, and that's the first thing we did.
Was there a time when you were in the house with Mr. Gray?
Yes.
And can you tell us how that happened? Or why that happened? Or where that happened?
Yeah, I mean, what I remember last is me, Jeff, and Chris in the kitchen, and he was getting dried off, finding towels, trying to find his clothes to get redressed. And then that's when the accusations kind of came of,
Let me stop you before that time. Who else was in that area other than the three of you?
as far as I remember, it was us three, but
You don't
As
remember
far-
anybody else in that area at that time?
I do not remember anybody else.
Do you have a recollection as to where everybody else was at that time?
Yeah, I remember Caitlin and Jeff's wife were in their bedroom. I do believe Tanner was outside warming up his vehicle, two vehicles, his vehicle and his wife's vehicle. And then it was me, Jeff, and Chris.
Okay, so you three are in the kitchen area and you said accusations. So it's just the three of you there. What accusations are we talking about now? I'm confused.
Well, Jeff was accusing Chris of inappropriately touching his wife or inappropriately saying things in the hot tub, inappropriate comments.
Was there a response from Chris?
Yeah, Chris at that time was denying the accusations.
Did you have any personal knowledge of whether there was or there wasn't?
I do not recall hearing or seeing any appropriate comments or anybody touching.
You were in the
anybody.
tub the entire time?
Yes.
Okay, so the three of you are there. Dantoff is accusing Chris of being inappropriate with his wife. Chris is denying it. What happens next?
From what I remember, Chris was he was standing by the couch in the living room, he was kind of pulling his pants back up, getting ready to leave, and that's when Jeff hit him.
Excuse me?
Jeff punched Chris.
Dantoff punched Chris at that moment?
Yes,
Where'd he hit him at?
in the face.
What happened to Chris?
He knocked him out. He fell on the floor.
You saw this?
Yes.
All right, what happened after that?
Then I kind of go over to Chris and wake him up, get him to gain his consciousness back, and I got him up, and then pretty sure he got his stuff and left.
Was this striking provoked at all by Chris?
No, I mean, he was denying everything he was being accused of, and it was honestly, it was kind of a blindside.
Just cold
Sucker
cocked him right
punch.
there. All right, what happened after that?
So Chris leaves, and we kind of continue, I think we end up actually going back into the hot tub for not long at all, I don't believe.
Did you attempt to provide any assistance to Chris at all? You said he left. Did he go home as far as you know, or what
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, you went home, or, I mean, I don't remember, did you get picked up? I don't,
Okay,
he
he left.
left.
in any event.
yeah, he left.
All right. And you went back into the hot tub with Dantoff at that point?
Yeah, I do believe that we went back into the hot tub for a little bit. Not
Who was in the
long.
hot tub at that point?
I'm not 100% sure, honestly.
There came a time when you got out of the hot tub?
Yes.
What happened?
So we get back out of the hot tub and go back into the house. And then from what I remember from then on is Stacy and Tanner's girlfriend in the bathroom rinsing off whatever. I wasn't in there. And then I remember Jeff going into their bedroom where the two girls were. And when they came out of the bedroom, that's when kind of the altercation started. As far as Jeff trying to kick out Tanner's wife, and I remember that's about the gist
So
of
the
that I
next time
remember.
that you saw Stacy, or excuse me, yeah, Stacy and Caitlin or Chris, excuse me, I'm getting my names mixed up here. Stacy, Caitlin, or Jeff, they were coming out of the bedroom area,
Yes,
and you said that's when the altercation happened.
yeah.
How was Caitlin dressed?
I think she may have been wrapped up in a towel. I don't remember if she was fully clothed 100% or if she was wrapped in a towel or bathing suit. Not 100% on that.
How was Stacy dressed?
I think she was also wrapped in a towel.
How was Dantoff dressed?
I think wrapped in a towel also.
Okay, what happened after that?
So that's when I remember Jeff saying that you're showering with my wife or something, rinsing off, or in the bedroom with my wife, and you didn't invite me or something along those lines. And then that's when he proceeded to kick out Tanner's wife. And
You're gonna have to help me a little better understand it. What happened next? Did he? how did
yeah,
he
so
try
it
to kick her
started
out?
more as a verbal get out, yelling, get out, and then it turned into him physically trying to throw her out of the door, and Caitlin was fighting back and kind of drug her up and down the hallway multiple times and was physically trying to throw her out the door.
You said drug her up and down the hallway. Describe that for me, please.
I mean, from where their bedroom is to where the garage, I think there's the garage door, dragging, I remember her getting drugged to the door and him trying to throw her out the door.
At any time, did you see, was Caitlin putting up a fight at all?
Yeah, she's doing the best she could, I guess, to get him off her.
What happened after that?
I mean, we're trying to explain, that we're leaving, we're trying to gather our belongings, we're not gonna leave with not having our stuff, but then at that point, that's when Tanner comes back from starting up his vehicle. And he comes up through the patio sliding door and sees all this happening. And then that's when he comes in and tries to take control of the situation.
We'll talk about Tanner in just a second, Ken. So how is it that it's left between Jeff Vantoff and Caitlin at that time? I mean, are they split? Are they in the floor? Are they fighting? What
Yeah,
are they doing?
they're on the floor. I mean, I don't know exactly what the scenario was. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure we were trying to separate them two and get the situation under control.
So who did you have a hold of?
I never put my hands, I don't believe, on anybody, so, I mean,
You didn't want
But-
to get involved in that mess, did you?
no, I was trying to stay out of it as much as I possibly could, but
Anybody get involved in that before Tanner came back into the room?
no, I think it was mainly just between them two at that point, and Jeff's wife was also trying to separate the situation too.
All right, Tanner comes in, tell us what happens.
So Tanner comes in and he hears screaming and hollering, and he doesn't really know what's going on at this point, but then he
I'm going
sees,
to object to that testimony. He really doesn't know Mr. Tanner Brewer, what his thought was.
I mean, I'm not taking it for the truth of the matter asserted at all.
Thank you.
Neither is the court. Objections overruled.
so Tanner comes to the sliding glass door and he notices the scuffle going on. He comes in, and at that point, he takes control of the situation, separates the two, and then Jeff and Tanner end up in the scuffle together. And, I mean, they had each other by the throats, and they're throwing each other around and all over the kitchen, all over the place, trying to get, the situation diffused best we
Let's
could.
walk through it a little bit slower, then we'll be done here. So when Tanner comes in, what is the first thing that he does physically with Jeff Vantoff?
I remember Jeff being pinned down on the floor with his arms being pinned down, and Tanner over top of him trying to hold him down.
Had he struck him at that point?
No, not at that point.
Were they exchanging?
Yeah, Tanner's trying to explain or trying to tell Jeff, calm down, we're trying to get our things and leave. And he just wouldn't calm down. So at that point, that's when Tanner then struck Jeff.
Did there come a time when you saw that Jeff Vantoff had reconnected at all with Caitlin? Did he have her by the sweatshirt, or did you see any of that
You mean after?
after Tanner came in?
I can't say 100% on that. I don't remember the steps on how it, every last detail, but
How did it ultimately end?
ultimately, and well, for me, after we kind of diffused the situation, as far as I remember, Jeff went to his bedroom, and that's when I left. So
Now, at any time during this altercation between Vantoff and Caitlin Reynolds, was she ever, did you see at any time her initiate this ruckus, or was she purely defensive in nature?
I mean, I can't say that she initiated this, no, it was more of Jeff being the accusations of whatever happened with them three in the bedroom, that's what initiated the fight.
Did you see who grabbed who first between the two of them?
I cannot say who grabbed who first. I mean, it was definitely Jeff vocally first saying that we needed to leave and verbally kicking us out of his house. And then that's when it turned physical. I don't know who grabbed who first.
At any time during this altercation, was there in your mind, or could you visually see an opportunity where Caitlin could have left but chose not to and fight instead?
I cannot say on that, no, I don't. I cannot say if,
I don't understand your answer. Are you saying you don't know, or are you saying you don't remember a time when she could have
Yeah, I
left and
mean,
chose
I don't-
not to?
yeah, I mean, if there was any reason why she could have left and she chose to stay, it's because we were trying, this whole time, we're just trying to gather up our belongings to leave, so. If there's a reason why I can think that she was gonna stay, it's because maybe she was trying to find her purse, or I was looking for my pants the whole time. I mean, my boots still ended up leaving things there, so.
I'm sorry,
There's
the last thing you just said.
My boots. I
Okay.
was looking for my boots.
Did you call the police, right?
Yeah.
And what did you tell the police, if you remember?
Exactly sure what I said. I was kind of in a panic, you know?
Were you intoxicated at the time?
Yes.
Was everybody pretty well having a good time and under the influence, if you will?
And I'd say so.
How about Brewer?
I mean, I don't think he was, belligerent by any means, but I mean, we had some beers for sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vincent, if you would give me one moment. Mr. Music, keep your seat for me, please. This is 2206920D. This is City of Romulus versus Taylor Nicole Thomas. May I have your appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel Batar on behalf of Taylor Thomas.
Ma'am, state your name for me, please.
Taylor Thomas.
Thank you. Today is the day and time set for the arraignment in this misdemeanor matter. For purposes of arraignment, Mr. Bitar, what say you, sir?
Your Honor, I've gone over the charges with Ms. Thomas. We'll waive a formal reading. Stand mute, please.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas, you have the right to be considered for pretrial release. Romulus Police Department has submitted a bond recommendation to the court that indicates that they do not oppose personal bond in this matter. Mr. Bitar, any comment as to bond?
Judge, we agree that it should be a personal bond. She has no prior criminal history. She has 4 minor children, ages 7, 4, 3, and 1. We don't believe there's any flight risk. She will appear at all future court hearings.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas, the court has had the opportunity to review your criminal history. The court will set your bond at $5,000 personal. You do not need to post any money, but what you must do is continue to appear as directed by this court until this matter is resolved in its entirety. The only condition of your bond that the court will set is that you do not purchase, possess, consume any alcoholic beverages during the pendency of this matter. Your next court date in these proceedings will be a pretrial on October the 20th, 2022 at 9:20 a.m. live in courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Brian Oakley, live in person at 11129 Wayne Road in the city of Romulus. Anything else, Mr. Bitar?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else, Romulus?
Just the case number one more time, please.
220692OD.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Have a good day. Ms. Thomas, good luck to you. Oops.
Thank you, Judge.
We're back on the record in 2200680M. Cross-examination by Mr. Vincent of Mr. Music.
I have no further questions. I have no questions at all.
Thank you. Sir, you may step down. Thank you for your testimony this morning. Your next witness.
Mr. Brewer? No, I don't. We obviously don't ask any questions, so he can stay or leave. Whatever.
He may stay. I'm sorry, Mr. Vincent, you have no objection to Mr. Music staying if he wishes? Thank you. Talking to each other about what's going on, understood. man is in his car in a casual jacket. Casual jacket. Good afternoon. It is afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good.
State your first and last name for me and then spell them for the record, please.
Tanner Brewer, TANNERBREWER.
Mr. Brewer, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Thank you much. Come up here, please. Have a seat in the black chair that's closest to me. My secretary is taking down your testimony. If for some reason she's unable to hear you, I'll ask you to either raise your voice or pull the microphone closer, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You're a witness, Mr. Young.
So, Mr. Brewer, we've been through a number of some information here today, so I'll kind of cut to the chase if I can. You remember January 8th, 2022?
Yes, sir.
It's why we're here. You know why we're here. And we've heard testimony that the day before, late the day before at night, a number of you met at McShane's for some beer and drinks.
Yes,
and
sir.
Some food, I mean. And who was there?
Well, me and Caitlin went for dinner, so the plan wasn't to meet anybody. Chase came down and met us. He's a friend of mine, longtime friend. Invited
It's
him
Mr.
down.
Music, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He comes down, meets us, and he recognized the couple sitting across the restaurant, I should say, and that he knew them. We didn't go talk to him. Nothing came yet. And then he invited Mr. Gray up to McShane's. Mutual friend. I know Chris. Chris is good friends with Geoff. And that's how we were introduced. Was
So
when
two that
Mr.
were
Gray
across
arrived.
the room, that was the Van Thops?
Yes,
Okay. And you all joined together?
yes.
Do you remember what time this started?
We had been there, I'd say 5:30, 6 o'clock. Chase probably got there an hour and a half later. I'd say it was between 8 and 9 o'clock, sir.
Okay. And how
That
long-
we all got together.
How long did you stay before you left?
Hour and a half, I'd say we were out of there by 10:30.
And you went to the Van Thops house?
Yes, sir.
All right, so while you're at McShane's, eating, drinking, kibitzing, talking, laughing and the like, any trouble, any problems, any difficulties between any of the parties?
No, sir.
Fun night
Absolutely.
up until that point? And you left and you got invited over to the Van Thops and you and Caitlin and her son went.
Yes, sir.
And tell us what happened when you first arrived.
When we first arrived, we just walked in the house, hung out in the kitchen for a little while. And, you know, it's just like any other normal night, just hanging out, talking, enjoying each other's company.
Did you drink when you were there?
Yes,
Did you drink, how many beers or drinks did you have when you were at McShane's?
less than 3,
And what did you have to drink at the Van Thops?
2 or 3.
All right, so you're in the kitchen, you're talking, what happened next?
Then we made our way to the hot tub.
Who got into the hot tub?
Me, Caitlin, Mr. Gray, Mr. Music, Geoff and his wife,
Um,
all of us.
Everybody got in, so
The
pretty good
adults.
size, pretty good size hot tub then, huh?
Yeah,
And how long did you remain in there from beginning to end, if you can remember?
I'd say it seemed like an hour, you know, we weren't staying in there consistently for an hour, but we'd get out, cool off, stand outside, hang out.
This hot tub was outside?
Yes,
All right, so did there come a time when you left, or started to wrap things up to leave the Van Thops house?
yes,
Do you recall approximately what time that was?
I don't recall.
Now, during the time that you're in the hot tub, was there any altercation or problems or difficulties with anybody?
Yes, there was an altercation between Mr. Gray and Mr. Van Hoff that started as you know, just comments back and forth in the hot tub and then escalated in the house.
Other than that, any other problems with anybody?
Nope.
Okay, you leave the hot tub, did everybody get out at the same time?
Yeah, within 2 or 3 minutes of each other.
Now, Mr. Gray, did he get out earlier and leave the hot tub area and go into the living room as far as you know?
Yes,
Did you follow him?
not right away. We were going into the house to get more drinks.
Okay. Were you part of an incident that occurred between Mr. Gray and Mr. Vantoff that occurred somewhere in the living room area?
No,
Did you witness that event at all?
yes.
What did you see?
I saw Chris's body fall across the top of the couch.
Did you see Mr. Vantoff strike him?
No, sir.
All you saw was the results of that.
Yes, I heard, looked, saw
All right. How far away were you when you looked up and saw what you said you saw?
14 feet.
14 feet, you're pretty good with distance. Yeah. Everybody else can't decide if it's 15 or 30, but sorry, it's late in the day. What did you do, if anything?
Really, I don't think I did much. I just tried to figure out what was happening. Chase was in the kitchen, I believe, and I approached him and just tried to figure out what was going on.
Okay, you didn't get involved?
No,
Turned around and went back to the hot tub?
no, I definitely stayed in there until Mr. Gray was dressed and out of the house.
Now, did anybody come into the kitchen area other than the people you just described before Mr. Gray left?
I don't recall. The only person I would think came in there is Geoff's wife.
Okay, Chris leaves. What happens next?
Night resumes. I mean, we kind of overlooked it. It was kind of one of those things where it was just over and done with, and the night was right back to everybody laughing and having a good time.
Did you have any understanding as to whether or not Chris had been hurt as a result of that?
I could tell, but nothing was, we didn't talk about it, no. But I could tell that it was a sucker punch, and I mean, anybody that gets hit in the head that hard and doesn't see it coming, that's easy concussion.
All right. So he's gone, he's taking care of that. You're back in the hot tub having fun again.
Yeah,
And all of that fun came to an end?
not from the point to the hot tub getting ready to leave, no.
Okay, so there came a time when you decided it's time to go.
Yeah,
And so tell us how that happened.
so me and the guys all get out, we're in the kitchen getting dressed, grabbing our clothes. The girls decide to shower to get the, chlorine off or whatever, rinse off. So they're in the bathroom. We're out in the kitchen getting dressed. I'm the first one ready, so I go out, start the truck, get LJ and all his stuff in the
Who's
truck.
LJ?
Caitlin's son.
Okay,
So I get him, us, all our stuff in the truck. I got the truck running, warming up out in the driveway. And for some reason, I just felt like she was taking too long, I don't know what prompted me to get out of the truck. It's not like it was, I wouldn't even say it was 15, 20 minutes. I just kind of got the feeling something wasn't right. And from the time I opened my door, which his driveway, the end of his driveway is about 60 feet from the back door of the house, I could hear the screaming the minute I opened my truck door.
could you tell it was Caitlin screaming?
No, sir.
You just
There
heard
was
something.
multiple voices,
Okay.
men and women screaming.
What'd you do?
I ran to the back sliding glass door, and that's when Mr. Music was approaching the door, and we met at that sliding glass door. He flings the door open and said, "You need to get in here right now."
Did you see Mr. Music after that time?
Yes.
He didn't leave at that moment?
No, sir.
Okay, what happened next?
We come into the kitchen, and then the hallway and the couch all intersect right at the end of the hallway coming out of the bathroom. And I saw Geoff standing over Caitlin, and she
Talking about
was,
Mr. Vantoff, right?
yes,
Okay, standing over Caitlin Reynolds.
yes, she was in the fetal position, kind of just cowering, laying on the floor. And that's when I stepped in, got in between him and her, and I was just yelling at him, screaming, trying to figure out what was going on.
So when you met with Mr. Music coming through the sliding door, did he explain to you what was going on, or he just told you you needed to get in there?
Yeah, there was no explanation needed, because as soon as he moved and I walked in, I could see all the
Tell
craziness.
me again what you saw. You saw Caitlin Reynolds in a fetal position?
Yes, with Geoff, Mr. Van Hoff standing over her.
Okay, how was she dressed? How was Caitlin dressed?
Sweatshirt, jeans, fully clothed with her winter coat on.
How was Mr. Vantoff dressed?
He was naked.
So you're expecting her to come out to the car, you hear some screaming, you go in, and the thing you find is your girlfriend in a fetal position and a naked man standing over her?
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
I pinned him up against the wall.
Did you hit him at that point in the face?
No.
Did you use your fists,
No,
knees,
no,
feet at all?
no,
How
sir.
about your forehead?
No, sir.
Okay, you pinned him up against the wall and what'd you tell him?
I was really just trying to figure out what happened, because Caitlin wasn't, I could tell she was very shaken up, but it wasn't, I didn't want to make the situation worse.
So you got him pinned against the wall. What are you saying to him?
What is the problem? What is going on? What is going on?
What was his response?
I believe he was already just yelling, "You need to get the F out of my house. You need to get the F out of my house."
Well, you were already out of his house, weren't you?
Yep.
Okay. All right, what happened next?
Every time I let go of him, he went right back for Caitlin and he got a hold of the nape of her crew neck around me. So he's grabbed her, his arm is over me, he's grabbed her by the sweatshirt, and I'm just trying to pry him off, trying to get him off. And like I told you before, it was just psychotic rage. I mean, there was nothing I could do to stop him. I put him on the ground 2 or 3 times after that, as gently as humanly possible. At no point is this just an assault on him from me. You know what I mean? This is still trying to control and make the situation less than what I had thought it was. And there was no stopping him. I mean, it didn't matter.
So what happened then?
After, I'd say the 3rd time I put him down, it was in the kitchen from the hallway. And that's when he stood up and I was behind him. His chest and everything is facing the kitchen counter. And that's when he grabbed the knife from the knife holding case. And Mr. Music pounced on that arm quick that had the knife. I put him back on the ground. And when Chase got the knife, that's when I threw a few punches when he was on the ground and we got the knife away from him. And then we were out of there.
Where'd you hit him?
In the face.
How many punches?
4 or 5.
You hit him pretty good.
I hope so.
And then you left.
Yes, sir.
You have contact with him again?
Yes, sir.
When?
I believe it was the next day. I'd say we probably slept pretty long, probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon the next day. Well, it would be that day, just, because it was already after midnight.
How is it and where is it that you had contact with him?
Sorry, contact with his wife. We were communicating with the wife. We had no contact with Mr. Van Hoff directly.
Text messaging?
Yes, sir.
And what was the exchange about?
Well, we were looking for some lost stuff that we assumed to be over there. And as soon as she said, Mr. Van Hoff was in the hospital, we figured that meant he wasn't there. Can we come look for our lost items? So that was the basis of the communication.
Did you go there?
Yes,
And,
assuming he was not there.
okay. Did you find the boots there?
No, sir.
Any altercation or any communication or any interaction with either of the Van Hoffs on that day?
Interaction, but I wouldn't call it altercation.
After that, any further connection, discussion, exchange of information or anything?
No, I was so troubled that day when we left their house. When we met back up to look for the boots, after we left their house that day, that is when we realized that there was no remorse. These people did not feel bad about what they had done. They did not care. And that's what made us feel worse, was leaving that day.
All right. I have nothing further. to add.
Thank you. Mr. Vincent, your witness.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brewer.
Good afternoon.
Would it be fair to say, you had no intention of starting any kind of fight that evening or that night?
Absolutely.
Thursday? And you were at McShane's drinking with several other people.
Yes, sir.
And Caitlin's son LJ is what, 9 years old?
At the time.
Was he there with you in the bar?
No. He came with her to meet me for
Okay,
dinner.
so I get it.
I was
You
at the
guys
bar
drove- you guys
with
drove
Mr.
separate.
Music. Yes, sir.
You drove separate. After a period of drinking, did you have anything? It was mainly drinking, all right?
Yes, sir.
And then from McShane's, you were invited over to Vanderhoff, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you got there figuring 11 o'clock, midnight, sometime around then. I mean, nobody's looking at their watch. but
Right, but I'd say it was around 11.
Around 11. And you're out in the kitchen area. Where was, Caitlin was with you and her son at that time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And you guys set her son LJ up on the couch with some movies and something to watch on the TV.
Yes, sir. He probably only made it half hour, 45 minutes before he was knocked out on the couch.
So after that point, all the adults are in the hot tub,
Yes, sir.
which is outside.
Yes, sir.
And while you're in the hot tub, would it be fair to say from some investigation I have done and reading that Chris became kind of frisky, overly sexually suggestive, saying things to Caitlin, matter of fact. Asking her to take her top down, things like that.
Yes, sir.
And at some point, Jeff told him to leave.
Yes, sir.
And he left, got out of the hot tub, went inside. Jeff went inside, keep telling him to go, leave, because he was kind of out of control. Would that be a fair statement?
Who was out of control?
Chris,
No, sir.
not out of control.
He was out of line, disrespectful.
Excuse me, that's a much better way to say it. He's out of line
Absolutely.
and saying things, maybe touching people that he shouldn't be touching, things like that.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And Jeff was trying to get him away and get him out of the house, make him leave. Fair statement?
Yes.
And you actually got out of the hot tub and went into the house during that period of time? And nobody else, just the three, correct?
I believe Mr. Music was in the kitchen, as far as I
Okay,
recall. He
yeah.
came in with us.
And so the four of you were there, and the big effort was to get Chris to go.
He was getting dressed when Mr. Van Hoff punched him. There was no, Mr. Gray was not fighting us on leave.
I understand.
He was getting ready to leave.
So he was out of, then he left.
Yes.
And then you all went back into the hot tub.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you stayed for a while. You were drinking shots in the hot tub, correct?
Yes, sir.
And would it be fair to say pretty much everybody, I'm not talking about yourself, but I'm talking about pretty much everybody there was kind of intoxicated to some degree or another.
Yes, sir.
Were you intoxicated?
Not above the legal limit to drive, sir.
I understand that, but could you feel the alcohol in you?
No.
I mean, because you're a big, what are you, 280 pounds?
Way more than that. 320.
I'm being charitable.
No, there's no way I would go over to someone's house I don't know and
Because you're
just
320
get drunk.
pounds, you can drink a lot more than 120 pounds.
It's not that. It's not, I'm not gonna drink more because I'm bigger. It's the situation I was in. I'm
Gotcha.
in public, even at McShane's.
Yeah.
I'm not out to get blasted.
No,
you know?
I understand, I understand. So you went outside with LJ, was LJ Nango in your vehicle or Caitlin's vehicle?
My vehicle.
And at some time or other, you left that vehicle, you heard screaming and you walked into the back door.
Yes, sir.
There's a great room, and there's a hallway, and there's a back door leading to the garage and to the parking area. Correct?
Yes, sir. The back door from the garage is not the one I came in. The one I came in is the sliding glass patio door on the back of the
But
house.
that's one way to get out of their house, is to go down at the end of the hallway and just simply go outside.
Yes.
correct? And that hallway is probably what, car length or two, what, 15, 20 feet maybe?
Yep.
And when you walked in, you couldn't figure out what was going on, right?
Had no idea.
And you grabbed Jeff off of, to kind of standing over, hunched over, whatever, Caitlin, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you grabbed him and said, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? And basically, you tried your best to calm him down and figure out the situation. Fair statement.
Yes, sir.
And he started fighting with you and basically fought with him back.
Yes, I mean, he did, I didn't feel like he was trying to hurt me at the time.
I think it'd be impossible to hurt you, but go ahead.
So I didn't feel like he was attacking me. I felt like he was trying to get through me to her. And then, like I said, I just felt like his eyes weren't even there, you know? I knew it was one of those situations where he wasn't gonna remember. He didn't know what he was doing. So I'm not going in there to hurt him. You know,
I'm not suggesting it.
I understand. I'm
I'm
just,
not suggesting it. I'm suggesting that you're trying to figure out what's going on. You didn't see anything that went on prior to coming through the sliding glass doors and seeing Caitlin and seeing Jeff and kind of what, in the hallway?
yes, at the end of the hallway. So at the end of that hallway, it opens up to the kitchen to the back, the gray room.
Kind
to
of a
the
great
front.
room, a big room with the kitchen, stools,
Yeah,
couch and all that. And they were right at that point.
yes.
And so you have no idea what happened before.
No, sir.
Did you go in, you had no idea about the two women taking a shower together? You had no idea about that, correct?
No, sir. And to this day, I believe they showered separately.
Okay, but you had no idea whether they showered separately or together, because you didn't go into the bathroom, right?
No, I wasn't worried about it. It's
You, in
two
fact, you were
adults.
going out to the truck.
Yep.
So when you got back in, I have a picture. May I approach?
Absolutely.
You know what that picture is of?
Yes, sir.
What is that picture, sir?
Mr. Van Hoff.
Did he look that way that night?
I would assume if this was taken that night.
Did he look that when the two of you were fighting? When he was trying to fight you, he's trying to get around you. You think he was trying to get around you to Caitlin, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what you presumed he was doing,
Yes, sir.
and you were trying to stop that. Then when he grabbed Caitlin's
Sweatshirt.
sweatshirt, and that's, he blasted him.
No, it was after he grabbed the knife.
He grabbed a knife.
Yeah, there was about 10 minutes in between.
Okay, so oh, praise this. You had grabbed him, pushed him, carried him, anyways, you ended up in the kitchen area. And you had hit him more than once, but not really hard, but just to get him to stop fighting. Fair statement?
Are you saying before he grabbed the knife or after?
Something, there was physicality going on before he ever grabbed the knife.
Not punches.
Not
No,
punches. but-
None.
But.
Very physical. I'm grabbing him, tossing him down, putting him on the ground,
Okay, so
holding
you-
him on the ground,
Gotcha.
using my weight, anything
Yeah.
but a punch.
So you were grabbing him, picking him up, throwing him on the floor,
Yep.
holding him down. I don't know, maybe even kneeling on him or sitting
Yep.
on him. I mean,
Absolutely.
applying force to him without punching.
Yes, sir.
And then was he on the floor and you're kneeling on, is that when he grabbed the knife?
No,
After that or before that?
after, when I let him back up.
Let him back up, grab the knife.
Because it was kind of a bad spot, you know, where I let him up, the knives were right in front of him. It just
Yeah. I
happened
get
that
you.
way.
So he grabbed the knife. And at that time, Chase grabbed the knife,
Yeah, grabbed that whole arm.
grabbed the arm, and then that's when you started hitting.
When I got him back to the ground, yes.
The only time you punched him is in the kitchen,
Yes.
not in the hallway when he's with Caitlin.
No, sir.
The only force you used against him there is pick him up, put him on the ground, push him against the wall, various physicality things without punching.
Yes.
The punching started with when he got a knife.
Yes.
You don't know if he was afraid he was gonna continue to get bounced around and knelt on by you, or you have no idea why he did that, correct? You don't know what's going on in his mind, right?
No, I just think it was opportunity. Like I said, when I brought him up, they're right in front of him. Yeah, I get it.
So after that, he was basically knocked out. Jeff,
I wouldn't think so. I was not under the impression that he was
but
unconscious.
he quit fighting entirely.
No,
No, after you had punched him, what happened after that?
I grabbed Caitlin, Chase, we were out the door. We were
Okay,
gone.
you
There
left,
wasn't-
after
yeah,
that point, you left, so you don't know what he was doing after.
nope. But I
All
know
right.
the refrigerator was ripped off the wall, some doors were ripped off. I mean, it didn't end there.
But you were gone.
Yes, sir.
You came back the next day
Yes, sir.
and you were looking for cowboy boots
Yes, sir.
that weren't there,
Yes, sir.
that were later found in Caitlin's vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Well, people were drinking quite a bit that night, and you forget stuff.
Well, if you knew me, I'm the king of losing stuff, so it's just
No,
hard
you're
not to chuckle.
I'm the king. But anyway, you went back there and, looking for the cowboy boots that she had really left in her car, or somehow they were in her vehicle. And did you fist bump, Jeff, when you saw him?
When we were leaving.
Okay. And Caitlin looked around for her boots.
Yeah,
Did Caitlin and Stacy hug each other? Did you see that?
I don't recall.
Were you somebody apologized to you? Jeff apologized to you, didn't he?
Yeah, but no eye contact, no. Yeah, he said sorry, yeah.
I mean, his eye was blackened and all that. You could tell he did get, right?
Yeah,
But he said he was sorry, right?
yeah.
And you don't remember the two ladies hugging each
No,
other? And then you left and that was it.
yeah.
The police questioned you guys about why did you go back the second time? They thought you didn't want to prosecute or something. Did you question about that? Do you remember that?
Well, the very first, I mean, when we woke up in that morning, we weren't heart set on what we were gonna do because we were trying to process what just happened. But after leaving that second time, there was no question.
The fact that his face was all beat up and battered, have any,
Are you asking if I feel bad?
no, did that factor in at all of why you wanted to prosecute?
No, sir.
No, okay. But you just didn't like what happened after the second meeting.
And then,
Fair statement?
you know, yes, sir, yes.
All right, I have no other questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Mr. Young,
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. Brewer, thank you for your testimony. You may step down, sir. You leave that there face down for me, please. Thank you.
That was never offered.
I know.
The only thing I have left is, the video of Stacy Bantock. And it is an investigation, an investigative video. It was police call, and what you see is chest camera where the police are coming onto the scene. And what you will see is a short discussion with her, and then they go into the house to see the aftermath of what we just talked about. So it's not, she wasn't under interrogation at the time. She wasn't asked to come in to make a statement or whatever. This is what the police officers saw when they arrived on the scene.
And Mr. Vincent, you previously made your objection to the court viewing this video of Stacy Vantoff engaging with the police. Is it the things that she says on this video, or is it the mere fact? Is it the things that she says or the things that are shown on this video that are problematic for you?
I think first, she made statements to the police. A statement out of court. You're saying it's a statement other than one made by the declarant, which testified in the trial hearing, offered in evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted. This is a statement she made, even if they weren't married, even if she did have a marital privilege. I think he's trying to go around the marital privilege, but this is clear hearsay. That's what this rule was designed for, to keep statements made outside of court. Well, I didn't have opportunity to cross-examine. I didn't have an opportunity to hear this. Boom, put in there. It's simply hearsay. I mean, I've read the definition. It doesn't, there's three exceptions to that rule. None of those exceptions fit. And basically, it's during cross-examination, if they say X, Y, Z, then you come back and say, wait a minute, you said A, B, C a day earlier. Then you can use that. But she's not testifying. She's got a marital privilege. And it's here. I mean, it's just pure hearsay. I don't know how else to say it. I don't, there's two kinds of, I'm very familiar with police body. All the police body cams that ever I viewed, using evidence,
I'm listening to you.
Were always incidents, the police pulling a car over, police doing, arresting somebody, police doing field sobriety tests. It wasn't any kind of statements that were made. It was actions that could be seen. That comes in, it's clear that comes in. Police have video cameras in their car. That comes in. Why? It's not a statement. What he wants to, what council wants to, council wants to do is introduce a statement made outside of court. It's hearsay. I mean, that's it, it's just hearsay. I don't know what else. I keep saying the word hearsay, but I don't know what else to describe it. I've never encountered a situation since I've been doing this where an out-of-court statement on video was offered as evidence.
Mr. Vincent,
All my experiences with body cams and car videos were as I described.
Mr. Vincent, that was the basis of the court's question, because before we started testimony this morning, you indicated marital privilege, which suggested to me that Ms. Vantoff's engagement with the police on video disclosed some confidential conversation or some conversation she had with the defendant. And that's why the question was, is it to what she says or to the video in and of itself? Oh, interrupt me. It's fine.
Whether or not she had a marital privilege, not my argument.
Okay.
It's because this is hearsay.
Mr. Young, your response.
Hearsay, it's coming out of her mouth. It's exactly what we did 2 weeks ago. If you remember, the police officers arrived on the scene and they said, what happened? And the guy told them, my car went into the ditch, if you recall. And that's what this is. This is not hearsay. I'm not calling Officer or Detective Toth or Saligen to testify as to what they heard from somebody else. I'm putting on the tape of statements that came from Vantoff herself. There's nobody in between. There's no intermediary. We don't have to worry about hearsay. She said it. So it's crystal clear. He knows that. This is all he's got to argue about. So all this is just, you'll see the circumstances that existed at the time that the police arrived, which is important to put all this in context, particularly since we've listened to how Caitlin Reynolds is the bad person here. So it's an opportunity to present to the court what happened, what the impressions were by Ms. Vantoff at the time, and the condition of the house. It'll be over with in a few minutes. You can use your decision yourself.
It wasn't a car, it was a Hummer. Anything else, Mr. Young?
You're right about that. So
It was a Hummer that
my
was,
recollection isn't the
it was in up to its rear fender. Anything else?
nothing wrong.
Your Honor, it's not fair, 2 against 1.
Was there any other,
I want to make it clear. I don't think any of these people are bad people. Caitlin, any of these.
I just counted Mr. Young's
I think
comments.
I think everyone was drunk, with possibly the exception of Mr. Brewer. I think everyone was highly intoxicated. I don't think any of these people are bad people. My impression, they're all good people. And I think one of the responding officers sums it up and, it's alcohol. These are not bad people. My objection to what the council wants to do opens a whole can of worms, because now the hearsay rule 801 will not have any meaning at all. If you get them on a body cam, then let's put it in court. We don't need to worry about anything else. It's hearsay. I don't care what.
Mr. Vincent, over your objection, the court will view the video. I don't believe that this is what is contemplated in MRE 801. Is it connected? Jamie?
And she also is asserting a marital privilege, which I believe he's trying to get around the marital privilege. Would the court mind if Stacy left?
She's free to leave.
Yeah, you can. Should we play it, Your Honor?
You
Oh, I'm sorry.
let let that finish warming up, but it will be showing in the gallery and it should be showing at both council tables. You can clear that. You should be able to clear that, okay, but they should be able to see where they are. Mr. Young, stop this for one moment. Who is this? Who? Thank you.
Officer Crescenti is the one coming up.
Okay,
Is that-
that was what I was asking, because you
Yeah,
just
okay.
start playing a video without
Yeah,
saying.
he's out in the hall if you need to talk to him.
Would he be able to authenticate the video then? If council says he would, then fine. He doesn't need to come.
He doesn't need to come. That was my question, because we just started seeing something dated January 8th of this year at 3:37.
I also understand the council's gonna play about a minute and a half.
About 3 minutes of it.
Well, let's
3 or 4
expand it.
minutes.
Should have said it.
Okay.
Hello. What's going on? Do you have his location or anything? Did he say where he was going? He just took me up. He was mad that I was gonna take him. Is he intoxicated? Yes. Do you have any idea where he might be going? No. I have family in Ohio and his family in Holland, Michigan. We have no one else here. Holland? 45 is something else that he might be headed toward the Holland area. So what all happened in that? When you had friends over. What's your name? Stacy. Stacy. We had friends over and he just literally like flipped a switch. Like, I mean, we never have seen him like this, never. I mean, there's blood all over my house. Like, he just picked a fight with like all these people that were over. I have no clue what happened. And I started popping up the baby to take him to go with me. Yeah, we just rolled out here. Probably at 6 degrees. You got no shoes on and freezing. Is there any dogs or anything? Where is it? You okay? Yeah. He's screaming. So what do you do? He got mad. I got in the shower and he this is a big huge guy here tonight. Yeah, me too, but I didn't even know what happened. So let me ask you this, what's your first name, please? I don't, Stacey. I was out here when you had a carbon monoxide. Yeah. Okay. So what was going on then? Have you already get together? Yeah, we left. Getting in the hot tub? Yeah, we left, where'd you meet Tanner and his girlfriend at? We changed. Okay. Just tonight? Yep, we left and changed, we came here, we were in the hot tub.
That's all we wanted the court to see. We'll be glad to play the whole the whole case or the whole tape if the court chooses, or if Mr. Vincent wants to see it, but that's what we wanted the court to see.
Mr. Vincent?
I filed two objections on this hearsay, this is hearsay, and this, I feel it's a violation of the Maryland. No, I don't want to say any more of this. But thank you for the offer.
That's it, Your Honor. Prosecution rests.
Leave it on for just a moment, please. Mr. Vincent, your witness.
That's correct.
Any argument, Mr. Young?
Does the court choose to hear argument?
If you want to give it, I'm here.
I know you are, but, okay. Your Honor, as you know, the defendant is charged with violation of Sumter Township Ordinance 3.4, section 3.4. Basically, it says it's unlawful for a person within the township to attempt or offer with force or violence to do corporal hurt to another, or to assault and or batter another person. The court's heard the testimony. I think to sum it up as quick as I can, this was a party. Adults got together. Alcohol was consumed. A good time was had. Maybe some things got out of hand. I don't know. But the focus that I have is the complaining, or the victim, I should say, in this case, not the complaining witness, but more the victim, and that's Miss Reynolds. Now, the testimony of Miss Reynolds was basically this, and it was pretty consistent, I believe. She was in the hot tub. She got into the shower to shower off or wash off the chlorine. And when she was leaving the house or heading down the hallway, whatever the case may be, she had an altercation with Mr. Vantoff. Mr. Vantoff, as indicated in other testimony unrelated to Caitlin Reynolds, does what? He assaults his friend, Mr. Gray, thinking that Mr. Gray had improper conduct or actions with his wife. And he hits him in the jaw and knocks him over the couch, if Mr. Tanner's recollection is correct. And then, for some reason, Mr. Gray leaves and they return to business as normal. And shortly thereafter, the altercation happens again. Now, Miss Reynolds indicates that when she came down the hallway, she had no idea there was a problem. She didn't even know about Mr. Gray, as far as we know. And she's confronted by Mr. Vantoff, and Mr. Vantoff accuses her. We've heard the allegations. She denies that. He starts to get upset. And then you heard the testimony by Miss Reynolds that she was attacked. That what happened, happened. Back and forth, back and forth. She suffered some minor injuries when it came to bruises on the knee. What I mean by minor is there's no broken bones or fractured jaw, like I understand Mr. Gray might have experienced. But in any event, she still is assaulted and battered by Mr. Vantoff at that moment, for reasons that we think are totally unfounded, but it doesn't matter. Even if it were true, it doesn't mean that she has the right, or that they have the right, to issue their own punishment and render punishment to Caitlin Reynolds as to what they think is appropriate given the circumstances. All we've heard today is all of this was consensual. The only time that anybody was asked to stop or to leave was when the altercation happened, when he was told to stop. Mr. Vantoff was told to stop. And in return, when Mr. Vantoff told Caitlin Reynolds and Tanner Brewer to leave. And unless I'm mistaken, reasonable steps were taken by both of them at that time to do just that. I don't believe that Ms. Reynolds stood there and wanted to go toe-to-toe with Mr. Vantoff. The court can make your own decision if that's what you want to do, but I think the information is clear. Mr. Music had some difficulty remembering certain things, but in any event, he did recall that Vantoff is dragging her up and down the hallway. He's trying to get her out of the house, as Mr. Music said he believed was happening, either through the words, the hollering, or whatever by Mr. Vantoff. There's no indication that Caitlin Reynolds wasn't gonna leave. Why wouldn't she want to leave? You've just been accused of having a sexual relationship with this guy's wife, which she claims never happened. And I believe her, because nobody's been able to prove otherwise. But in any event, he takes it upon himself to take this action. Mr. Tanner comes in, and what does he see? He's out in the car, warm in the car in January, thinking that everything is finished. She's gonna be coming out shortly. She doesn't. He comes in, he sees his girlfriend in some position, he called it a fetal position, other people had her on her back, whatever, and a naked man standing over her. Boy, did he react unreasonable when he went after Mr. Van Thorp. What would anybody do under those circumstances? So he goes, he proceeds to try and protect his girlfriend, and he did it, I believe, with self-control. When I first saw Mr. Brewer, I thought, well, maybe I'm gonna use the video on this one, if I can. Big guy, I mean, but yet when I talk to him, he's about as calm as all the rest of them put together. I mean, he indicated the whole story succinctly. He had no emotions when he was talking, and the court had the benefit of listening to his testimony today. And he articulated what his belief was, his recollections. Things are not perfect, but what he tried to do is diffuse the situation. And when he couldn't, he used his fist. Right or wrong, good or bad, should or shouldn't have, it was certainly reasonable under the circumstances. And again, Mr. Brewer is not on trial here. Mr. Benson's done a great job talking about alcohol, talking about getting in the car with your kid, talking about getting loud and boisterous, talking about going into a shower, having some prurient interest and questions about what are you doing in the shower, having issues about you as fight or flight. What about you, Miss Reynolds? I mean, he did a good job of putting Miss Reynolds on trial here today. But she was the one, Your Honor, that was assaulted by Mr. Van Thorp. How do I know this? Why am I convinced beyond all doubt, not just a reasonable doubt? Think for a moment for the last 3 minutes is what I wanted the court to hear. The testimony of the witness that was around during all of this. She was in the shower. She was coming down the hallway. She witnessed, she saw, she almost experienced the whole incident. And her testimony when the police came up, or I shouldn't say testimony, but what she stated to the police when they came up, when she was asked what happened here, she said, he just went off. We had a party going on here. I've never seen him like this. He just went off. This is somebody who's there, somebody who's credible under these circumstances, somebody who's concerned, somebody who called 911 for the police to come to the house. There's other reasons for that we didn't get into, that I didn't think it was appropriate or necessary. But in any event, I believe that we've proven this case beyond a reasonable doubt. Clearly she was attacked, clearly she was assaulted, clearly she was battered, and it wasn't justifiable. She didn't start this. She didn't create this scenario. She didn't engage in any conduct, at least it hasn't been shown or established by the defense, that where somehow she deserved this kind of treatment by Mr. Van Thorp. So based on that, Your Honor, I ask you to find the defendant guilty of the charge. Thank you.
This unusual case. In a sense, you have all adults, all good people. There's no question, these are good people. They're not gangsters, they're not bad people. They're good people. They're all working, they're all decent, good people. And they all, except for one, have had way too much to drink. Clearly, when the police encountered Stacy, I renew my objection. I hope the court would not consider a hysterical, drunken lady sitting out in the cold, anything bring credibility out of her statements. She's sitting outside, I think one officer says 6-degree weather. Only somebody that's highly intoxicated would do that. So what do we have here? We don't have a case of Chris. We don't have a case of Chase. These are not victims, they're witnesses. Clearly, there was a fight, and I asked, Mr. Tanner Brewer, so what was going on in the hot tub? That got Chris told to leave, told to go. It's funny that even Jeff had to get out of the hot tub and make sure this guy left because he was being, I think the word was inappropriate, saying sexual things, maybe touching people, and he was asked to leave. Something happened. Mr. Brewer did not see it, saw it afterwards, saw him get hit, you know, the consequence of being hit. Not sure exactly what happened between those two men. Yeah, hit him. Leave, get away, go. And obviously everyone's drunk. Guy wouldn't leave, got punched. But that's not the issue here. I think council's trying to say, look, he did this, so he must have done the other. He did that, so he must have done the other. He grabbed a knife. Well, if I'm getting hell beat out of me by a 320 man, I might grab more than a knife. The knife was taken away. All these things are not what we're here for. What we're here for is what happened in the hallway, the great room between Caitlin and Jeff. The fact of the matter is, and the evidence has come out, that Jeff walked into the bathroom, saw his wife and this other lady naked in the shower. He, being drunk, says, well, I want to join you, or whatever. And they told him to get the hell out, and he left. They took his clothes off. Meantime, Caitlin gets her clothes on, and now he wants her to go. But he is in the great room. This is Caitlin's testimony. Jeff's in the great room, 15 or so car lengths away from her. She's at the end of the hallway. Now, she said she's dealing with the fight or flight. All she had to do when Jeff started making these accusations was turn around and walk 15 feet out that back door. Where her boyfriend, who's a big dude, big guy, she had all the protection he would need. None of this would have happened if she simply turned around and left. She admits that the two of them were fighting. She admits that she hit him, Jeff, in the face at least 3 times. Instead of leaving, she stood there and fought. Now, who charged who went after who first, whatever. This is like mutual combat. I'm not approving any of this. I don't want the court to approve of it. But it's not a crime, assault, battery, of 2 drunk people getting a scrap with each other. And then one of them ends up getting a heck knocked out of them by the boyfriend. So who started the fight? Who hit who first? It's not clear. It is not clear. So the standard which counsel is not talking about is he has a duty to prove to the trier of fact, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. There's some doubt in this case. And the doubt was raised by Caitlin's testimony. There's where the doubt is. What really happened between the two of them? It was never made clear. Who started the fight? Who hit who first? And clearly she was hitting him, the fight was going on, and he, being a man that's stronger than her, got her down on the floor. Wasn't him. The Tanner came in, the big guy came in, didn't see anybody getting punched or anything, just saw him standing over her. He wanted her to leave, clear the net, get out of the house, leave. Apparently, she didn't want to. She wanted to explain things. And the fight started. So where's the proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the assault happened all provoked by Jeff? I don't think he reached the stuff happened, no doubt about it. But has he met the standard, proof beyond a reasonable doubt? I say no. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Young?
I must have listened to a different case today. I don't know. Where's the proof? Really? Where's the proof? Caitlin Reynolds testified the way she testified. She came out, he hollered at her, took his clothes off, and he attacked her. Now, was his clothes off at that point? Were they off earlier? I don't know. But it's consistent that he attacked her. That was her testimony. Yeah, I guess we don't have to believe that. I mean, Mr. Vincent doesn't. Well, we move on. What did Mr. Music say? Mr. Music didn't have all the facts down, but he recalled that he was dragging her up and down the hallway. Why didn't you leave when you were being dragged up and down the hallway? According to Mr. Vincent, she should have got out of there. She should have left. It's her fault, Judge. It's not Mr. Vantoff's fault. It's her fault because she didn't leave right away when she was shocked and didn't know what was going on. And I'm offended to hear there was something going on in the shower. We're still hearing that. What happened to Mr. Gray? Unrelated to this case, but he gets whacked. Unrelated to Caitlin Reynolds, but he gets whacked in the jaw. What happened when Tanner's trying to subdue him? He pulls out a knife. What a wonderful guy. What an example. Where's the proof? Caitlin Reynolds is trying to defend herself because this maniac is standing over her when Tanner walks in or he attacks her. You heard the not the testimony, but the statements from Stacy, didn't you? My husband went off. A flicker went off. A light switch went off. Whatever word she used, he went crazy. Where's the proof? The better question is, where isn't the proof in this case? We don't have any understanding as to what happened other than as put forth. Yeah, we attacked Mr. Tanner. He's a big guy. That somehow means he overreacted. Miss Caitlin was drunk. Miss Reynolds, I should say, was drunk. So that somehow gives Mr. Vantoff the right to smack her around. Mr. Music doesn't know what's going on. So because everybody's together having a good old time, that excuses the assault. Caitlin Reynolds did not walk into that house deserving to be attacked. Caitlin Reynolds did not get into that hot tub in the shower and come out of there deserving to be attacked. Caitlin Reynolds wasn't trying to walk out of that house because she was leaving and dressed and deserved to be attacked. That was all undertaken by Mr. Vantoff. Where's the proof? It's 100% in my mind, Your Honor.
Mr. Brewer puts meeting Mr. Music at McShane's at 5:36 o'clock in the afternoon. The video body camera from Crescenti puts the end of this at 3:30 in the morning. And to answer your question, Mr. Vincent, the court discounts that. The video of Miss Stacy Vantoff, the court is not considering it making its ruling. All the things that happened, and the court's not considering the shower and what happened between Stacy and Caitlin. The court has no interest in that. Or even the fact that Christopher Gray was sucker punched, knocked out, because it's very clear in the complaint that Christopher does not want to prosecute. So we get to the point, this court gets to the point where Caitlin Reynolds is coming down the hall and the defendant is coming from this larger common area in the house. And there was nothing in the testimony of either Mr. Brewer, Mr. Music, or Ms. Reynolds that convinces this court that Caitlin Reynolds decided in that hallway to go 10 toes down and fight or engage in mutual combat with Mr. Vantoff. This court is convinced that the prosecutor has made his burden to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Vantoff on that day, being January 8th, 2022, did commit an assault and battery upon one Caitlin Reynolds as set forth in the complaint in this matter and supported by the testimony of Mr. Brewer, Mr. Music, and Ms. Reynolds. The court finds Mr. Vantoff guilty of the sole count in this matter of assault and battery. Anything else, Mr. Young?
Nothing. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Vincent?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Vincent, would you like an immediate sentencing or would you like an opportunity to present a sentence recommendation to this court?
I think the court is a good measure of all these people. Court understands. I will say he has no prior convictions. He worked full time. He's been married for years. I don't think brother counsel would dispute any of that. And I don't think the police officers would disagree that this was alcohol used. I would, you want to he was like, he trusted court. I don't know what else to say about it. This is a bad event. Luckily, it didn't get worse. You had a whole bunch of people. I've been doing this over 50 years. Good people, drunk, sometimes do things there.
Mr. Young, is there anything you want to add at this time?
The concern is the alcohol, the concern is the anger, so whatever the court decides in addition to that, I'd ask some sort of counseling as it relates to both matters and reports provided to the court. And of course, no contact for a period of time.
Reports provided to the court, so you are asking for
I think.
this matter to be referred to probation?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Are you asking for this matter to be referred to probation?
Well, after the sentencing, I mean, I'm assuming if you give him probation, that there'll be some conditions imposed, and I would assume that I'm asking for consideration of alcohol counseling and also anger management.
You don't disagree with
I'm
me.
sorry, Mr. Young, the question succinctly is, are you asking for Mr. Fantoff to be placed on probation?
I am, Your Honor. I thought you meant pre-sentence. I'm sorry.
Are you asking the matter to be referred to probation for a pre-sentence report?
No.
Okay,
I too have asked to be firm to be put on probation rather than be locked up.
thank you. It was never the court's intention to send Mr. Fantoff to jail. Anything else, Mr. Young?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Anything else, Mr. Vincent? Mr. Fantoff, is there anything you'd like to say on your own behalf, sir?
Your Honor, like Mr. Vincent said, we are all very good people. None of us planned to have this event take place. As everyone described, it was way out of the ordinary. And I believe that we could all take it back, we would. And, I apologize for any of the actions that I had. And wish that we can all learn from these and move forward with our lives without affecting our lives and grow better from this house.
Thank you, sir. The court will place Mr. Fantoff on 6 months of probation, impose a fine of $500, cost of $200. There'll be a $75 crime victims fee, $50 mandatory state costs, $20 fund fee. He'll pay all oversight costs associated with his probation. He'll be referred to probation department for alcohol assessment and anger management if the probation department deems it appropriate.
Is there some total, I couldn't, I'm not good at math.
I did.
My assistant's got it.
That would be 1,085.
Can you have some time? to take-
Absolutely, Mr. Vincent. The other is that although Mr. Brewer's testimony was that that second day, that January 8th return to the house to look for the boots was the last time that they being Mr. Brewer and Ms. Reynolds intended to have any contact with the Fantoffs, the court will put a no contact order in this matter. No contact between the defendant and Ms. Reynolds. Anything else on behalf of the people of Sumter?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Vincent?
Nothing, he can go downstairs and check himself into probation today, or should he do it?
He should wait for probation to reach out to him at the phone number we have on the file, which is what he would have verified with the court at his last appearance. The file won't be downstairs and ready for him for at least a couple
He
of
should just
days.
wait for a phone.
He should wait for a phone call from the probation department. Anything else, Mr. Vincent?
No, I appreciate your.
Thank you. This court stands in recess. Would you return those to Mr. Young, please? And yes, you can turn it off. Please go back to Mr. Young, please. And yes, thank you.